Yep, I'm co-streaming it. Yep.
All right, great. All
I
right,
will verify that.
take us away, Greg. Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Despot and Greg Owen show. We're going to be talking about Oscars, mostly Oscars Best Pictures. And then later on, we're going to go into some of the awards and talk about the other categories as well. We're going to have a fun time tonight because they're actually this year, believe it or not, are, I think, some really good Oscars Best Picture nominees. And there are also some, what you imagine when I say the words Oscars Best Picture. There is some absolute boring, pretentious shit in this lineup today. So yeah, we're gonna jump into that. Before we do, as everybody filters in, Despot, you got anything exciting going on in your life that you want to tell everybody about? These first couple of minutes, you got to give people a second.
Yeah. I'll just, at the minute, my next video is gonna be about a movie that I wanted to do in my biopics video, but it wasn't quite right because it's not so much a biopic as it is a historical drama. It's called Hidden Figures, and it's about three black mathematicians at NASA and the contribution they made to the space program. It doesn't sound so bad. It sounds like just, a little bit of recognition for these obscure figures over there. But when I watched the movie, it's one of the most disgusting, libelous historical distortions I've ever seen. Like, it is shocking. It's so much worse than I imagined. So I'm working on that at the minute.
Is it because they decided to make the race thing just such a central portion of it, and
they basically, the filmmakers decided to pretend that NASA was a deeply, viciously racist organization. And that's, the whole plot is dependent on that. Like, for example, coffee pots are segregated in this movie. And when I went and actually did the research, none of that is true. NASA were like probably the least racist organization in the States at the time. Like, the thing is, it was just NASA were really just a bunch of math geeks who like to play Civ 6 on their phone during their lunch break. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's who they were at the time in the 50s. They're just a bunch of nerds. They don't give a fuck about whether it's a woman or a black. They just want somebody who can do math, right?
Yeah.
But they're portrayed as like this very Jim Crow organized. It's horrible. It's such a horrible. I fucking hate that movie. But you'll see when you see the video.
What I don't understand is it's movies like that I feel like, I mean, I guess, like, I don't want to be Mr. Speak for the Black people or whatever. Just, if it were me, if it was my group and somebody made a movie about my group and then they focused on all of this overinflated, they had to make up extra struggle stuff, like, that would bother me. Like, I would want to see a historical movie about my group and be like, look how cool these guys were. Look at this cool work that they did. And that's what the movie's about. Just look at these guys and the amazing work that they did. And just like, that would be that. It feels like it undermines that by having to push in some sort of struggle story instead of just letting it stand on its own and saying, look at the work that these guys did. There it is.
It caricatures the real life women. It's to an absurd degree, really, because it takes these very professional, intelligent women and just turns them into kind of mannequins for the sort of Marxist worldview, whereby you are really just a representative of your identity group rather than an individual.
I don't have any of those groups at the moment, other than homeschool. But I never did understand the people that lobby for that. Like, I can't imagine seeing something that has someone that looks like me, or I don't know. I can't imagine defining myself that way. Always just being like, hello, I'm Greg. I'm a straight white man. Hi. Hello. Nice to meet you. Like, I don't know. That feels weird. Like, why would I don't care. I don't know, man.
Yep. Oh, I got a good part in the video for you as well. I want you to play director Greg. So you're the director of the new. You're the director of the new hip modern space program.
Oh, I'm freaking ready. I'll get my therapy speech. I'll have a chatbot write it, because that's what it should sound like. That's one of the good uses for AI right there, is when you're mocking ridiculous therapy language.
Yeah. Well, we got 135 people in here right now, so I guess we better get on with the movies.
All right, put me up on there. Let's get going. We're gonna get off with a good one. Let's start with a good one. I like the way you got these ordered here because we're not going to start with a crap movie. We'll get to those in a bit. Where am I at? You got to share. I think you're in control.
I have to add this to the stage, yeah?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
We are professionals, everyone. It's fine. All right. So we're talking about Oscars Best Pictures nominees first. You guys they're settling in here. And this one, I mean, I think you're going to agree. I think you've already said this one. This is the number one. This is going to win, and it's my number one pick too. Since we talked last, I've always liked this movie. Like, I enjoyed it. I had a fun time, but I always saw all of the praise and I just was like, what am I missing? I'm clearly missing something. So you and I talked about this last time, and I got some recommendations in the chat to go to, I think, Closer Look. And there was another one. One of them was like a combination of Irish Folklore Channel and somebody else. So I watched a couple of those to try to get a little bit more of the themes, and I am even more impressed. Like I the way I think about this movie now is like it does Dark Souls storytelling in movie form, which I'm so impressed by, whereby it gives little hints and you can piece together kind of some things. I was watching that one video about who this vampire might be, and this Tar or whatever. I'm butchering it. But you know, it's a famous vampire legend from Ireland, and it could be this person, or it could be this other type of vampire legend or whatever. And the movie has just enough of these hints, like a Dark Souls style storytelling, where you can sort of put these things together. But also, if you don't want to do all of that theory crafting, you can just watch this and you can just have a good time. It's just a fun vampire horror movie. There's a lot of suspense. There's great acting. It looks beautiful. There's great music. You can just enjoy it as it is. And then you can go back and dig into all the layers and enjoy it even more that way. And that is really impressive.
Yeah, I actually rewatched this before this stream because I've been getting some pushback from my subscribers saying, you know, this is an anti-Christian movie or it's an anti-white movie, things like that. For example, one of the criticisms was, name one good white character in this movie. They're all evil. And that's basically true. But except for that hot girl, what's her name? She was...
Why can't I think of her name? Hillary... No.
Well, anyway, the love interest, what's her name? She's hot. She was in Marvel. I'm sure that the chat can tell us what her name. Haley something.
Haley Steinfeld. That's what it was.
What is it?
Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld. So she's good. You know, she's good. She's basically. Oh no, wait, no, she's fucking horrible. Actually, she's off cheating on her husband. What am I talking about? Anyway, but that's the point. Everyone in this, but it's also true of the black characters. Like, there's no one in this movie is really good. Like, even the little guitar guy, right?
Yeah.
He's off the guitarist and he's playing music, and he's gonna play some music at his father's church that morning. So he kind of seems like a good guy. But what is he actually doing in the bar? He's adultering with a woman who's off cheating on. You know, he's breaking the code of bro. He knows she's married, right?
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether she's happily married or unhappily married. You don't break the code of bro. All right. It's a bullshit, nasty snake in the grass thing to do. It's wrong. So, you know, they're all shitty people in their own way. Everyone in this movie, with maybe a couple of very minor exceptions, of not irrelevant, but sort of side characters.
Yeah. So,
you know, even the medicinal woman, like, she's selling this snake oil garbage that isn't going to help or heal people. But anyway, so that's of course why it's called Sinners, because they're all sinners. The anti-Christian stuff, I don't really think so. I wasn't getting that. The theme doesn't come through strongly enough, and I think that the idea that the church wants him to set down his guitar and abandon blues music, I think it's just a fairly accurate representation of how a lot of black churches in the South felt about that type of music at the time.
Yeah. Well, I would even go so far as to say that the pastor was right. He was like, you need to get away from this lifestyle. And then he goes to the pastor was right. And everybody dies. They're all, and like, he's cheating, and
the only person in the movie you could say is a good man is the pastor, because he's trying to get his son away from these degenerates. He's saying, you know, don't go there tonight, son. And his son goes there and he commits adultery with this woman, which is wrong. And his father, the pastor is right. The pastor is the only good person in this movie. like you say. And at the end, the guitar, when he attacks the vampire, the guitar is a kind of metaphor for the cross when he smashes it against the vampire's head, and that's what kills him. So, oh, by the way, everyone, just so you know, this is a full spoiler stream.
Oh yeah.
Fuck,
Yeah.
mention. So every movie we're going to be talking about from here on, total spoilers, right? We're not going, because there's no point in us reviewing these if we can't properly talk about them. So if there are particular movies you haven't seen yet, and we'll tell you as we go through the movies, we'll tell you this movie's bollocks, don't worry about spoilers. Or if you haven't seen this, we strongly recommend you do. So, spoilers. Everything will be timestamped. So if there's, if you haven't seen Marty Supreme and you don't want it spoiled, you can just skip that one. Sorry, Greg, I'll be back in a wee minute. 2 seconds.
Yeah. So like I said, I was watching it. I've been meaning to do it, and so I was glad we're doing the stream because I had watched a couple of videos, and Despot had pointed out before that the big theme of this movie is about just identity. A lot of it is about identity, and I think what gets people's hackles up and what got mine up is that it's Ryan Coogler, and Coogler is kind of known at this point for he wants to be the next Spike Lee. It's like that's how he's styling himself. Is all of my movies are about the Black experience and the Black struggle, and it's just super duper, like all I'm doing is Black stuff. And then of course this movie has the big KKK revenge scene at the end where Michael B. Jordan, the Klan just shows up and he mows them all down, and it's very Indiana Jones. We're just getting the revenge scene. And so I think people heard about that and they just thought, okay, this is a bunch of trash. It's going to be very anti-white. It's just going to be another, it's going to be a Ryan Coogler preachy mess. And really when people say that it's about identity and about the loss of identity or appropriation or of culture or whatever, like all of these are very loaded terms right now, but the movie really explores those things. It is not as, and I trust me, if I was hearing me say this stuff, I would be suspicious, but it really explores these concepts without beating you, the audience, over the head by saying Black people had this precious special culture that was so amazing and everybody just robbed it of them and ruined it. It doesn't do that. It explores how culture gets shared and what is robbing of culture and what is sharing of culture and what is, having your culture stolen from you like the vampire does. And it really gets into exploring that theme without getting either too vague or too blunt and bludgeoning you with whatever the director wanted to say. It's really, really well done. And like I said, it's just fun to watch. Like you could just watch and have a great time.
Yeah. What really makes this a strong movie for me is that it has standout moments that you would go back for. So that's what makes a movie rewatchable. Great moments, great scenes. A movie can be perfectly acceptable, like a perfectly good, normal, decent movie. But if it doesn't have those standout scenes and standout moments, then it has zero rewatchability because why would you go back to it? Yeah. So this movie has a few things that do make you want to go back and watch it again, and it has those great moments. Like, for example, the moment when Remick does he sings the Irish traditional song, and he does the Irish dance. And by the way, the Irish dance that he does is period accurate. That was a really nice touch because Irish dance became professionalized in the latter half of the 20th century. And like when Irish dancers started touring America and things like that.
Started doing river dance and stuff.
Yeah, like Michael Flatley and all that. Yeah. And but prior to that, it was a peasant dance. And I've seen, I remember when I was a kid, I was watching some old documentaries on RTE, which is an Irish channel, and they're showing this old footage of peasant Irish dancers back in the day, and it looks just like what the actor did in this movie. It's this very old style of sort of tap dance. And I thought that was a really nice touch. And I'm betting that the actor actually went back and looked at old Irish dance to emulate that. It's a small detail, but the small details add up and they ultimately make a great movie. And it also shows the attention to detail that they put into the movie.
Yeah.
But that whole scene where he sings that song, Rocky Road to Dublin, which is a great song, it's brilliant. And, you've got all the vampires dancing around him, and Cornbread's got half his mouth blown off and he's doing his fun wee dance. Just amazing visuals and really funny, but also kind of terrifying at the same time. It's an amazing scene. I also love the scene where they do the history of black dance all at once, and they throw everything in there. They throw in the really cool shit, like the blues artists, which is like the height of black music in America, and they throw in the horrible shit. They throw in, the fat ugly girl twerking, which is disgusting, but they don't discriminate. I think that's the point. They're just packing it all in there.
Yeah, they had
Show that you've got the highs, but you've also got the lows.
they had
That's a
some
brilliant
funk
thing.
in there for a minute, which was funk
It's
is real hit or
corny,
miss. That was one it's like late jazz where sometimes funk is great and other times it's like, were you guys just they were just high in the studio just fucking off, and it's not good.
So that's a great scene, but they've got lots of great scenes in this, and it's a fantastic movie. It does have a few issues. It cheats a little bit with Remek's introduction. Like, how exactly did he run through a cotton field during the day without exploding? In his introduction, he just sort of appears. Where did these Indians come from? They've been chasing him across miles of open cotton country, yet they can't catch him. It doesn't really, the scene logistics don't really make sense when you think about it. So I would consider that cheating, though. It's just kind of a little bit of cheating. And then there's so little I can point to in this movie and say, okay, that's bad or that's wrong. It's a terrifically made movie. It's great.
Yeah, it is. And I wish I had more language about like cinematography that I could properly describe like what it is. I'm at the point where I just, I like that. That's good. And then I don't know. That looks like crap. And I didn't go to film school, so I don't have the technical stuff. But I just know in Coogler's movies, the coloring always looks really good. Like the color saturation is there without being overdone and gaudy or garish looking, but it's nice because a lot of movies that we're seeing these days are just washed out. They're just terrible looking. And this was colored really, really well. No pun intended, sorry. But the way he does his shots look really good. Like that scene you were talking about where Remek is doing the dance and the music is building and the dancing is building, and the way that the camera is cutting around kind of makes you feel tense, like something is really about to burst loose or happen, or like it evokes these emotions with the way the camera's playing around. Like it's a really fantastic movie.
Yeah, notice how because a lot of this movie happens at night. Notice how well the night scenes are lit, and that's such a rare thing nowadays. Night scenes look like dog shit nowadays. They're far too dark. The lighting is really crap. Like fucking Netflix night scenes. Dear God, there was a movie recently. It was not a bad movie. It was called The Rip. It's a Ben Affleck and Matt Damon movie, and pretty good movie. Pretty good action movie, but they do have some sort of action scenes happening at night, and it doesn't look good. It's all very blurry and too dark, and it's hard to see what's going on at times. But the night lighting in this is gorgeous. Looks fantastic. Yeah. You get that real moonlight effect. Awesome.
Yeah, all around. I mean, this one's gonna win. If you guys haven't seen it, I really do. Like, I get why people are gonna be turned off or why they're gonna be defensive against this one, and I never blame the audience for that. That's Hollywood has done that, and you're right to feel suspicious. But this one, I think you're gonna have a great time with. And it's the other reason it's gonna win is because the Oscars they're still wanting to get away from the whole Oscars so white. They want to appear progressive and all of that. And this movie is going to sweep because it is so good. And also at the same time, they can say, look, we care. Look at how, they can get the virtue thing without having to look stupid by holding up an obviously shit film, but trying to score the points. They get to have their cake and eat it too on this one. And it's going to be, I hate this word now. It's going to be historic. The amount of awards that this movie is going to, I said game because I was thinking about Expedition 33 from last year, where same type of thing, where it's just so good that you're going to have people that are like, oh my God, what did it win all the, because it's good, because it's better than everything else that came out last year. And it's going to get all the awards and it's going to deserve all the awards.
Yeah. And I also think that the Oscars, they're trying to recover their reputation following the Emilia Perez debacle. Because they know that was very, very damaging for the Oscars brand. It was this big public humiliation where they just ended up looking like a pack of retards. So they're trying also to fix the brand damage that was caused by that, which was significant.
Yeah.
And if anything, they've gone overboard with the amount of nominations this movie's gotten, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah. All right. Well, next up, as exciting as this one was, our next one is Oh God, this was a drag right here. Did you get a chance to? Did you stay awake through this one?
I've seen 9.5 of these movies, and I did see all of Train Dreams.
It was well. What'd you think? What'd you think about this one?
It's nice. It has zero rewatchability. It's a drag. It's depressing. It's one note. And when I first watched it, I thought that's really, really nice. That might even be great. But as I got a bit of distance from it, as I mentally digested it, I liked it less and less. So basically, this movie is about a man who lives in the woods, and he is a lumberjack, and he marries a nice girl he meets at church, and they have a daughter. And he goes off lumberjacking for months at a time, so he can't be around his family. And during one of his lumberjacking trips, there's a big fire, and his family are lost in the fire. No one knows what happened to them. Presumably, they are dead. And he waits for them in the cottage. And because he's sort of struggling to accept his family's death, and he's waiting for them in this cottage, he becomes a man out of time. Time passes him by, and he's just this old hermit living in the woods, still living in the 1920s. As America sort of rages forward into the future, he's still just this old guy living in a cottage with no electricity and no nothing. And it follows him as he sort of passes into irrelevance and eventually dies alone in his cottage, and no one notices, because he's essentially become stuck in life as a result of his trauma. It's a kind of a movie about the effects of severe trauma, in a sense. And as I say, it's a good movie, but it's too one note. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that the main character here, the lumberjack, is a bit of a straw man. He's something like the white equivalent of a noble savage, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So liberals have this idea of the noble savage. Like, weren't the Native Americans so pure in their existence before they were corrupted by Europeans, by the arrival of the West in their continent, which is nonsense. You know, they lived a horrible, brutal life. You know, if you spent 1 week with pre-Columbian Native Americans, assuming you survived the week, you'd be traumatized for life at the lifestyle you saw. I mean, the women were slaves, basically. They also had literal slaves. They would enslave their... I'll not go into it, but it was a miserable, miserable, miserable existence. Anyway, but this is kind of it's a total straw man. The guy's a noble savage. He's a white version of a noble savage. It's dumb. The guy himself is profoundly uninteresting. He's almost like he lacks interest. He lacks drive. He seems to exist solely to support his family and doesn't actually have a personality or a mind of his own. It's almost like he's retarded, but he's not retarded. It's a very, very weak character, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think the narrator actually says more words than he does.
Possibly. He's not a verbose guy, but he's just too passive a character to be interesting or even to be believable. Like, this is not a believable man. I don't think a man would be so inactive, even in response to a severe trauma. I don't think a man like him, who is at least reasonably intelligent, is going to just, sit around doing nothing for 40 years. It's a straw man. It's dumb. It's noble savage nonsense.
Yeah. You're right. As I was watching it, I had a moment where I was like, yeah, man, that's the life. And then I actually actively during the movie thought, wait a minute, that's not a real, like that is, I caught the fantasy as I was having it. Like I could just live in the woods in a cabin and just fucking, have some goats and I'll just be out there by the water and that's what I could do. No, you can't. You can't do that. It was going for the No Country for Old Men. Times sure are changing, man, just things ain't what they used to be, partner. Like it was going for that, but it just was exponentially less interesting than No Country or any other story that's tried to do that same thing. And then it just ends. There was one thing where it didn't go anywhere, but when he was on a train job, Chinese guy got grabbed and thrown off a bridge and he never knew why. And he didn't really stop to help and kind of was halfway helping them grab the guy and then realized, what am I doing? And just was confused and didn't help. And the guy just got thrown off the bridge. And for the rest of the movie, he assumes bad things are going to happen and just sees this dead Chinese guy staring at him all the time. and it doesn't really go anywhere, but that's there. So it haunts him.
It doesn't really even make any sense. It's like, well, he didn't kill the Chinese guy. In fact, he tried to help the Chinese guy. He tried to get the other guys to let him go. So this idea that he should feel terribly guilty for the death of the Chinese man makes no sense. And I think what the filmmaker wants us to assume is that the Chinese guy was killed because racism. But, well, why would we assume that? Like, for all we know, the Chinese guy raped one of the guy's sisters, and then one of the guys got his buddies together and threw him off a bridge. Or maybe the Chinese guy ripped them off. Maybe they were playing a game of cards, and the Chinese guy cheated them, and they only figured this out after the fact. Or, Chinese guys are like, they're just as capable of, committing wrongs as anybody else. So why would we necessarily assume that this is due to racism? Then there's another bizarre scene in which a black guy shows up to the lumberjack cut, and he says, is Alan Smith here? And then Alan Smith jumps up and runs off, and then the black guy shoots him in the back and walks up and shoots him in the head and says, that man killed my brother for the color of his skin back in '93. And it's like, I knew instantly, okay, that's Oscar bait. That is pure fucking awards bait. That's what that scene's doing in there. A black guy shows up out of nowhere in the middle of the narrative to shoot a white man because racism. Let me translate that into Oscars for you. Give me fucking awards. Nominate this movie for Best Picture. Oh, man, the more I think about it, the more I talk about it, the less I like this movie. It also lacks rewatchability. Yeah. So we were talking about how Sinners has those moments you go back for. This has fuck all. There's absolutely zero. There's nothing to go back for. There's no reason to rewatch this. None.
No, it was just random. I mean, and later in the movie, he meets a forest ranger who's going to be a fire watch at a fire watch station, and you're thinking, okay, new character. 3/4 of the way into the movie, we meet a brand new character and discover that her husband has died, and that's why she's joined the Forest Service. And you're thinking, all right, widower, they're gonna, not even maybe fall in love, but just they both understand, and they're gonna talk. Nope.
I thought they were gonna get married. I thought they were gonna get married, like, and as you say, maybe it might not be love when they're too old to have kids, but Jesus Christ, like, just for their own sanity, just so that they can keep each other company as they're getting older. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe a fucking miracle will strike and she'll get pregnant. Who knows? But no, it just goes nowhere.
Nope. They just chit chat one time, and that's it. And then, the end of the movie, he literally is dead. His house is falling in. It's been taken over by nature, and you see a kind of an outline of his skeleton because he dies in his sleep, and that's it. The house rots with him, and that's the movie.
There's the very sort of depressing element, like where it shows a vision he has of his mother, of his wife, and her little girl. The wife, it's during the forest fire. The wife's running through the forest to try to escape with her daughter, and her daughter's like 4 or 5 years old. And she passes out from smoke inhalation, and then the daughter is sitting on top of her body going, mommy, mommy, with the fire burning around her. And I'm just like, why do you want me to see this? Why do you want me to watch a little girl burn to death with her mother? This is not, who the fuck wants to watch this? What is this?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, y'all should avoid this one at all costs. It'll put you to sleep. I mean, it's just so slow. And it's the kind of slow that wants to be profound, but it's just not.
Yeah,
let's take a minute. Let's take a little break here. Oh, I think you're you gonna do some super chats real quick?
Yeah, I think we'll do some super chats to recover from talking about train dreams.
I think you gotta. It's
yeah. All right, so we'll start with Stickman. It's his best friend. It's not even close. I mean, he did Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
Not said.
I haven't seen Fruitvale Station, but I'm gonna assume that it was his first. I think that was his first one. So it would be.
He's only directed 4, I think.
Yeah.
Apart from his sort of irrelevant, like, early indie movies. Yeah, he's done Creed, which is a very good movie. Very good movie. Creed. It's one of the. Do you know what it is? Creed is actually, it's something of a major achievement because it is one of the only legacy sequels which were good. There are very few of those.
Yeah.
So fair play to him for that. Creed's good. Black Panther's a piece of shit. Wakanda Forever's one of the worst movies of the decade. Brilliant. So he's really only done Fruitvale Station. I don't know anything about. I'm assuming it's kind of an indie movie.
Yeah, it was one of his first kind of bigger ones. I don't think you would maybe call it indie, but it was his first big go.
Yeah. And then apart from that, yeah, Creed, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Sinners. So yeah,
Yep.
5 movies he's done altogether. And this Sinners is, I mean, obviously it's his best, but it's his only great movie. Creed is pretty good too. Creed's close to. I don't know if it's a great movie. I'd have to rewatch it. But yeah, that's pretty good filmography overall. And as I say, yeah, he did Wakanda Forever. But even if you look at great directors, they've all got utter fucking stinkers in their filmography. All of them, and even great directors occasionally will have to do a paycheck movie, and it's just the way it is. So, although I
Yeah.
don't know if actually, yeah, Wakanda Forever would have been a paycheck movie for him. It is Marvel trash after all. Okay, so Kirby, Despot, I'm currently going through a rough time. Advice. I would need to know the specifics of your rough time, Kirby, but my advice for anyone going through a rough time is to uh, keep to if you're not doing exercise, get into it. Keep to doing some regular exercise, and keep in touch with family or the bros. Just make sure you got people to talk to. Exercise, decent diet. I apart from that, I really can't give advice because I don't know what kind of rough time you're going through. If you're mourning a death, I think a great Winston Churchill quote is, um, "Grief is a desert that has to be crossed alone," something like that. But think of it like that. A rough time in life is just like a desert. You just got to cross it by yourself, really, and that's it. You get the other side, and you get on with life. But yeah, just try to stay healthy and keep your chin up. Dogepal, hey Greg, any chance we can talk through your email?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's on the channel. Greg Owen official at Gmail. Shoot me a note.
Here's a little cash. Buy yourself something nice. Thank you very much. Nevermore Rules.
Cash.
And
Alex wanted to know, he meant to type something in there. He wanted to know if we have seen Chef. I've not even heard of Chef.
I haven't heard of Chef.
I'm gonna have to look this up. He said a couple of things about it here. It appears to be about a food truck. Oh, it's got Sofia Vergara in it, and Scarlett Johansson and Jon Favreau, Rob Downey Jr. What the hell? John Wing was on. This is like a star-studded. Oh, it's from 2014. Man, I've never even heard of this movie, but it's got a bunch of people I normally like, and it's about food. So you got 2 points going for me right there.
Okay, so why don't we move
check
on?
That one out.
Ooh, this is an interesting one.
Interesting as in weird and goes nowhere. So Bugonia has a cool concept, right? If you read the synopsis, Jesse Plemons and his brother, who is obviously very very mentally retarded or something, like he's got issues, and Jesse Plemons has convinced him that Emma Stone, who is the CEO of a big biotech company, that she's an alien, and they're going to kidnap her because her products are like killing the earth or whatever. Like, the guy is raising bees. The movie opens up with this extended shot on bees and this talk about how they're important. And so he is saying, we got to kidnap her. She's an alien from outer space, and I know it. And the beginning is kind of, I mean, it's crazy. Like, they give themselves, they chemically castrate themselves so that she can't use her alien mind powers on them. They have a plan where they're going to shave her head because her hair allows her to communicate with the alien mothership. They got to cover her in antihistamine cream for whatever reason, and it just sounds nuts. So they kidnap her and they lock her in the basement, and you're just thinking, oh my God, these crazy guys have kidnapped a CEO, and they have all these goofy protocols because they think she's an alien. And you discover that his mother was given a treatment from the company to cure her, but it didn't work, and she's in a coma. And you also discover that this guy is traumatized because a local police officer obviously molested him as a child. Like, he has a lot of issues going on. And so you just think, oh, crazy guy. Okay. Crazy guy kidnaps CEO, he thinks Oprah's talking to him through the TV, that kind of thing, which was that was a deal. The problem with this movie is that you think it's going someplace, And then it turns out that you get a big twist where she's escaping. She fools him into thinking that she has the cure for his mother in her car in a jug of antifreeze, and if he goes and gives it to her, she'll wake up, which he does. So he poisons his mother to death. And as she's escaping the house, she discovers a room in his basement full of body parts and pieces of bodies in jars and stuff. And he has clearly tortured and murdered people to discover if they're aliens or not. And he's got a model of the spaceship. He's figured out what the spaceship looks like. And he's got recordings of him dissecting people to figure out if they're aliens, all this kind of shit. He catches her. He straps a bomb to his chest, takes her to her office because he's like, you got to beam us up to the mothership. And she's like, okay, I'm just going to go with this crazy person. And she asks him to get in her closet, and the bomb goes off and he explodes. And you're just like, wow, where could we possibly be going with this? Then she runs out of the ambulance that she's been in, runs back to that same closet. Guess what the big twist is? She really is an alien. The other aliens are upset that she didn't contact. She says, I couldn't contact you. They shaved my head. You get a view of the spaceship. It is exactly what he predicted. Like everything he was saying was 100% true. And then the movie ends with them saying, the experiment on Earth is no good. We got to pull the plug. And you have a 3-minute sequence showing everybody across the entire planet just drop dead. And that's the movie. That's it. And as the credits rolled, I just thought, what the fuck just happened? What the fuck was the point of any of that? What were we trying to make conspiracy theorists look right? Like make them look wrong? Was there something about bees? And because it's called Bugonia, I have no clue what they were going for, but it's a wild ride that ends up with nothing. What were your thoughts?
I think the thematic pretense of the movie is that you are, as the viewer, are put in a position whereby you look down on Jesse Plemons as this crazy guy, right? But it turns out that you were the one who was wrong, and he was right all along. So it's trying to suggest that you, as the viewer, are that you look down on these types of people that Jesse Plemons is, these kind of hick conspiracy theory types. You look down on them in the same way that corporate elites might look down on them, and that you have that in common with them. Even as much as you despise the corporations and the ruling class, you also have that in common with them. You look down on these people too, but it turns out they might be right. And I think that's some of the thematic pretense of the movie. But here's the point. We weren't wrong. We weren't wrong. Jesse Plemons is crazy. Like, even if these people are aliens, you can't just grab somebody off the street and take them to your house and torture them because they might be an alien, right? Even if we knew for a fact that aliens had infiltrated the Earth, you can't just go grabbing random people and torturing them on the possibility that maybe they're an alien. That's what crazy people do. Jesse Plemons in this is crazy. Just because he's right about you being an alien doesn't mean he's not a fucking nut job. He is absolutely a nut job. We were right about that. When we're sitting there as the audience judging him, we are right to judge him. And the director turning around and telling us that we were wrong to judge him. No, fuck you, man. You're cheating. Okay? That twist ending is a total fucking cheat. And I'll explain why. Fight Club. You watch Fight Club, the twist at the end makes perfect sense because it's a payoff to a very careful build-up. And when you go back and watch the movie, you see all the little things that that the movie does to build up to that, and eventually it pays off, right? All the little indications and how it works so perfectly. Sixth Sense is the same. There's lots of little indications that Bruce Willis is dead the whole time. You rewatch it, and you can see it builds up to that payoff, right?
Yeah.
Any great twist movie, you'll have that. Where the twist is, it's not just a big twist. It only works if it's the payoff to a careful. It can be a very subtle setup, but it has to be the payoff to a setup. In the case of Bugonia, there is zero setup for the twist payoff. The twist payoff is just the crazy guy was right all along.
Yeah.
No. If you want a real twist, you have to do a lot better than that. You have to give indications that there's something really weird about this woman. Like, you have to suggest that she really could be an alien. You've got to have other things going on that set up the ultimate payoff instead of just having this. It's like you sever the first movie and just stick part of another movie onto the end of it. So, in my opinion, it's not a legitimate twist; it's a cheat twist. Um, so I don't like it at all. I don't like the way the movie ended. I think it ruined the movie. Otherwise, it's very good. If the movie had just been about these crazy people who grab a CEO up because they think she's an alien, that would have been a really good movie. And it is a really good movie for like the first 80%, and then
It
it gets really, really bad and really dumb.
it is. It's quirky. I mean, it is. There are parts of it that are funny. I mean, like actually, in a what the fuck is even happening right now kind of way. The weird, quirky, out of tune music adds to it a
Oh, the
lot.
music's
Like
great.
it's just a really, you never know what the hell is about to happen. It just, I mean, it is a ride, that's for sure. But yeah, at the end of the movie, you just feel you do feel tricked. You do feel like the
Not
movie was
tricked.
kind
You
of
feel
about
cheated.
how
You feel
this guy
cheated
is
because you
in
were cheated.
conspiracy theory. What's that?
You feel cheated because you were
Yeah,
cheated.
yeah, yeah. It was. Yeah. I don't know where they could have gone with it, but that ending was just, and it just the costumes at the end were all so stupid. They were in big sumo suits, in like hand. You ever see all you guys? You ever see like the where people crochet, but they use their hand as the needles, right? And you get this big fat stitching. They'll make like blankets and stuff out of it. That is what they were wearing, but as a like a big sumo suit. And all the aliens are just in these things in a weird ass looking ship, and that's it. And then she pops a bubble, and everybody on Earth dies, and that's the end of the movie. And it just, yeah, it felt like the director was just going, haha, you thought this was going somewhere, sucker.
Yeah, he cheapened his own movie for the sake of betcha didn't see that coming
Yeah,
moment, which is no. I mean, it's. I kind of, to be honest, I thought that's what he was going to do. I wasn't that surprised at all because I'm familiar with this director, Yorgos Lanthimos or something,
mm-hmm.
and he directed Poor Things, which is a horrible movie. It's also
I couldn't,
it's
I
also
couldn't
basically
finish it.
pedophilic
Yes.
uh,
Yep.
in nature because it's about a baby that gets put into the body of its mother, like through a brain transplant by a mad scientist. And then within like a couple of years, she's a prostitute. So you have someone with the mental age of a toddler having sex with grown men. Like it is profoundly disgusting, vile, pedophilic nonsense. I hate it.
Yeah. I
But it's just a
didn't.
terrible, terrible movie.
I didn't even finish that one. It just felt like it was gross on purpose, just for pure shock value.
Yeah,
When she starts touching herself at the table, I was about ready to turn it off already, and then Mark Ruffalo comes and starts touching her, and she's clearly, I mean, she's behaving like a child, and he's turned on by this, and I was like, all right, that's good enough for me right there. I'm
yeah.
done.
This is
Fucking out.
Man, Poor Things. What the fuck is it with Hollywood? Like stuff like that and Elio, plus the Epstein files. It makes me realize, wow, Hollywood really is full of pedophiles, like
Oh yeah.
actual literal pedophiles. I've
Yep.
no doubt.
Yeah. This one, this is. I don't recommend anybody watch it. I mean, there's, I don't know, if you're having some drinks and you just want to laugh about how weird it is, it might be kind of a fun time, but just know the ending is going to be a bullshit rug pull, and you're probably going to be a little disappointed in that. But there's some quirky laughs to have as you go. What are your thoughts on F1? I'm torn on F1. I'm torn on this one. I want to know what you think about this one.
It's a good popcorn movie. It's a big crowd pleaser. There's nothing especially wrong with it. It's very well, there is. I mean, it's extremely formulaic. The characters are kind of archetypal characters who are very formulaic. The plot is very predictable. The dramatic beats have all been done in previous movies. There's nothing really new here. It's kind of a rehash of older movies whereby you have the struggle to success, and then you have the great disaster, and then you have the recovery period, and then you have the great triumph. It's kind of like a Rocky movie.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. It follows the same series of dramatic beats as, say, a Rocky movie might follow. And of course, you have the argument between the two leads, and then they come together to go after it. Like, so the way that Rocky and Mickey argue, Mickey's Rocky's trainer, and they have this big argument in Rocky 1. And they have this a lot of animosity between each other. But they eventually decide to work together to take on Creed. And they both bring a lot to the table. Obviously, Mickey's a great trainer, and he can get Rocky in shape, and he can teach him how to best utilize his limited skills against Creed. And then, of course, you've got Rocky, who is, a determined, durable fighter. So that's a really great combination. And it's a very similar kind of formula in this movie. It's basically the Rocky formula meets Top Gun meets Formula One. And it's fine, it's fun, but it's not something I would ever watch again. And I saw it in IMAX, which was good, and that was good enough for me. It's a great way to remember the movie. Not only will I never watch it again, I never feel the need to ever watch this again. I don't think I've ever thought about it since I watched it, really, except when I was talking about it on stream. I wouldn't put it in Best Picture nominee, not a chance. I think it's just a sort of fun one and done popcorn flick.
See, the reason I'm torn on it is because I watched it a second time 2 weeks ago, getting ready for all these. I watched it over the summer the first time. I think I kind of speed ran it because we were going to talk about it on stream one day. But then I watched it again with the family. And the reason I'm torn is because I agree, it is totally predictable and formulaic. I get like everything about this is just a mishmash of, it is very Rocky. It's a sports movie. There's no not that everything needs a twist, but it doesn't try to be anything else. But what I like about this movie, and the reason I think it does actually belong in the Best Picture category this year, is because it executes really well on all of those fronts. And I think that this is a discussion that I want to see had more often, because yes, it's not doing anything new, but the things that it's choosing to do, it does really, really well. I think the pacing is strong on this. There was never a part where I was like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? This is so slow and pointless. Each scene had a point. Each scene moved the plot along, progressed it a little bit. The only thing that I could say I felt was a little bit too weak was the villain, the team owner that is like trying to sabotage them somehow. But then Brad Pitt winning somehow couldn't he couldn't sell the team because Brad Pitt won, which to me feels like it makes the team more valuable. I still don't understand.
That was a bit convoluted. I couldn't quite understand that. I think if they'd just made it simpler, like you don't need to do anything that convoluted, just like even a betting scandal, like he sabotages the car because he wants to win a ton of money betting. Something as simple as that.
That part was rough, but everything else I liked. He rides off in the sunset. He's just there for the love of the game. It's his own personal journey kind of thing. He is less of an ass. The kid gets more mature. They team up together. They overcome the crash. And yeah, it is very basic, but I think it's so well done that I enjoyed watching it the second time. I don't know if I can't guarantee I'll watch it again, but I would watch it again. And I think that this one to me stands as an example of, you can make a simple dish. You just have to really be good at what you're doing. You have to be good at the fundamentals. And this movie nails all of the fundamentals. It's really good looking. The soundtrack is really good. All the actors are bringing it. Nobody is, except for the team owner guy. He's just sort of there. He's my least favorite part of the movie. I think this one doesn't deserve to win a whole lot, but I like the fact that it's here because it's an example of, you don't have to be original. You have to be good. You have to execute well. And that's good enough. We have to stop chasing novelty. We have to start doing things well and sincerely. And this movie does it. And I like it for that reason.
Yeah, I will say there is one thing, one aspect of this movie, which I think raises it. I mean, I like the movie. I think it's a good movie. And I don't disagree with anything that you said. It does have at least one element that I think is excellent, and that's the chemistry between Javier Bardem and Brad Pitt. I really like that. That was great. They have some amazing scenes together. I love the scene where Javier Bardem turns around to him and says, you stop, you shut up, you sit there in that tub. He's sitting there in an ice tub. Really good scene.
Yeah, it's a solid movie. If you guys haven't seen this one, there's no you can guess what happens. I mean, he's got a racing partner that's a young hotshot, and you can write the rest of this movie. I mean, there's nothing to spoil, but it's a really, really good time, and it's fun for the whole family, which is also unusual for these Oscar picks. They're usually trash that are trying to be edgy with, just even the damn Hamlet we're going to talk about. There's a fucking scene in them, but why are we doing that? It's just so stupid. Yeah, no, I recommend this one. I recommend this one highly. Hey, before we get to the next one, then we got some super chats. We'll do those every other movie and
All right.
get those.
Okay. Yeah, Greg, this one's for you.
Highly recommend checking out any of the Mamoru Hosada's filmography. But if I can recommend one film, it is Wolf Children. Hey, I love a good recommendation, and I will check those out. I appreciate the recommendation, writers. Thank you.
Sinner's great movie, near perfect. Just one critique: the vampire lore. You get bit by a vampire, then automatically become a vampire. That's werewolves, not vampires. Other than that, great movie. Yeah, I'm not huge into vampire lore. I've seen a lot of vampire movies, and as far as I'm aware, there's no one fixed lore. Like, different movies have different lores. So, for example, Interview with a Vampire. It's not enough for the vampire to bite you. The vampire then has to feed you its own blood, and then you can become a vampire. But if it just bites you, you just die. So it depends on the author. Bram Stoker. What was his lore that if Dracula bit you, you became a vampire, or in the original Dracula, or did the Dracula have to feed you his blood also?
I've never read the original Dracula. I'm planning to, because I've got a collection of horror stories back there with Frankenstein in it, because I've never read that one either. And this year's Frankenstein made me really want to read the original. So, but you're right. The every one of them has the CW Vampire Diaries, which is very highbrow. I recommend everybody watch that one. They could turn them if they wanted to, or just kill them. It was just whatever they felt like as they were biting them. I don't know. And then everybody came back to life 17 times in that show.
They forget about these genres, which just exploded in popularity for 5 minutes. The vampire genre was super popular for a while, like teen vampire stuff, and then the zombie revival era. Like, everybody remember that? World War Z. Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Fuck me, man. Me and my wife watched World War Z like a few months ago, and we loved it. It is such a great trash movie. It is. It's a smoldering pile of bollocks, but it is so much fun.
You're selling it hard.
Great trash movie. All right. Oh God.
Here it is.
One after another.
Here it is. This is your favorite. This is your number one.
This year's Oscar villain. I fucking hate this movie. Greg, why don't you just go ahead, or else my head's going to explode talking about this.
So I'll give you my oldest kid's. I thought this was great. So she was in a film class last semester, and the professor got a copy of this, and this will not surprise you, her film professor was like, "This movie's amazing. It's so good. We got to watch it." So he loved it. Shocker. And she came home after watching it, and she said, "Hey, we watched this movie," which it was still in theaters. I'm like, "Oh, wow. What'd you think?" And she thought that the movie was aiming to be satirical of everybody involved because of how stupid everybody acts in this movie. Because I was like, "Hey, I've heard that it's like terrorist propaganda, that makes terrorists look amazing." And she's like, "Yeah, it kind of does, but it also makes them look stupid because they're out just, they're not blowing anything up. They're just shooting off fireworks. Or when they do blow up buildings, they make sure they're empty, but they're saying that like there has to be sacrifice for change. But then they make sure that it's empty buildings and they just kind of destroy some property." And so she came home and she was like, I think people are wrong. I think this movie is actually trying to be satirical about terrorists and about super militaristic people, whatever. So this movie is so stupid that she read into it more than was there, thinking that it was going after like this satirical take. No, everybody's just dumb in this movie. And it is trying to make these terrorists look misunderstood, and they're just fighting the power. And the real villain is racism. We don't really know what the form of the racism is. It's racism. It's that's the villain of the movie, is a secret society that's just racist. And this guy has a baby with a terrorist, and as soon as she gets arrested, she rolls over on everybody and disappears to Mexico, and we never see her again for the rest of the entire movie. She's a shit person. It was just, the only parts of it that I did like were when he was upset with the terrorist network, whatever, because those of you who haven't seen it, he's a young guy, he gets in this terrorist group and he wants to impress this one of the women there, and he's an explosive expert, and they have a kid together. And once she runs off, he's raising this kid alone. He's a single dad, and he is a stoner, and he's just a complete burnout, and he's just smoked away all his brain cells. And as all of his past catches up to him, he has to call these secret numbers with secret passcodes, and he talks to a guy who is asking him these cryptic phrases, and he's having a panic attack because his daughter, he thinks, has been kidnapped. He can't find her, and the guy is asking him, it's okay. The guy is asking him goofy questions like, what time is it? And then he's like, I don't fucking know what time it is. And he's just having this whole come apart. That was the best part of the movie. And I think that's where my daughter kind of got the whole, maybe this is satire, because it really was making fun of like, ooh, look how cool and secretive we are with our lingo and our secret rendezvous points. But they never do anything. All in all, though, it was terrorist propaganda, and it was just boring. It was just trash.
It's extremely long. And here's the thing: when I say it's extremely long, I don't mean it in the sense of the people who comment on my video things like, "Why is this video 2 hours long?" Why isn't this a 15-second TikTok video? I don't mean it in that sense. Marty Supreme is 2.5 hours long, and I didn't feel it at all. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Nope.
One battle after another is like 3 hours long, and it felt like 8 hours. Jesus Christ, this thing drags. There are so many scenes that go on for far too long. Like, the scene is not necessarily a bad scene in concept. Some of them are. A lot of the scenes in the nunnery, the whole nunnery subplot is just bad. It shouldn't have been in there. It's really dumb. It doesn't go anywhere. It's this 16-year-old girl hanging around talking shit with nuns about bollocks. It's boring. She's talking about her mother. Utter nonsense. A lot of that should have been cut. A lot of the scenes should have been shorter. It's far too fucking long. The subplot about the white supremacist secret society, I get what it's building up to. It's building up to the ending where Sean Penn is gassed. Sean Penn is gassed by white supremacists. Get it, guys? Do you get what it's referencing? It's referencing the Holocaust, Greg. Greg, did you know that it's referencing the Holocaust?
Wait a minute. Whoa. Just because white people gas somebody? I don't know. I didn't get that reference. That was kind of snuck up on me. I'm glad you cleared that up, though.
So
is that what they meant when they said that he was Gentile born? That's why they were saying that was a good. That's what they made that line on purpose. Damn, that's crazy.
So much of it's far too long. The characters, like you say, they're dumb, and there was potential here to do interesting things. So, for example, Leonardo, the only character that is remotely likable is Leonardo DiCaprio, because when him and his wife have a baby, he says to her, like, you need to pack this nonsense in the head. We've got a baby now. Stop this. You can't be going out to these terrorist actions anymore. We just need to chill and take care of the baby, right? That's what we should be doing now. And he's right. Obviously, it's like thinking that you can still party with the bros when you become a dad, for example. You can't. Yeah. You can't party with the bros anymore. You're not 25. You're a dad now. You got to settle down and be a dad. And that's his attitude, and he's right. But his wife's a bitch who just doesn't want to accept that. She wants to go out, and she wants to stay on the cock carousel, and she wants to go and have fun chasing, inflating her ego with all this terrorist shit. But the thing is, at no point in his life does Leonardo DiCaprio think we were following an ideology that ultimately manifested in a mother abandoning her own daughter and abandoning me. Maybe that had something to do with the worldview, this very egotistical worldview that encourages people to think that it's okay to be an absolute cunt as long as you're saving the world. You can be a horrible person to those around you. It doesn't really matter that much whether your baby has a mother, because you're saving the world. If he realized that, he could sort of think, this whole ideology is utopian bullshit. You're not saving the world. You're not doing anything. You're just creating chaos, and that chaos manifests in your personal life. That would have been interesting if he philosophizes about it a bit. But instead, he just becomes a boring stoner.
Yeah.
And he remains, ideologically, he remains exactly the same. He's He's no different in terms of his politics. He's just lazy about it. He just doesn't give a fuck anymore, but he still believes all the same shit when he's a middle-aged man.
Well, that was another, I think that was another reason why my daughter thought it was like supposed to be satire, because the speech she gives him is, I wish I should look it up, because it almost feels like it was written to mock these people, because she's like, you and the patriarchy want to control my body by forcing me to, feed this baby that you put in me and made me labor. Like, it was just so many stupid ass buzzwords that she turns on him and delivers this whole, you want to control me, you're the patriarchy nonsense. And it is like, as you're watching the scene, you're like, that is the most nonsense shit I've ever heard. But they play it straight. It is, there could have been a father-daughter story. You're right. Leonardo DiCaprio's character has no growth whatsoever. The best character in the entire thing is Benicio del Toro. And that was another subplot that was kind of strange. Like, in his town, there's an entire group of illegal aliens living there. And there's just like this underground railroad of illegal aliens living in this apartment building that,
yeah, they're presenting,
that was a whole subplot.
He's a likable enough character, but basically they're suggesting that the people who bring migrants across the border are these sort of benevolent good guy Robin Hood types. The reality, and this is grim shit when you read up on it, the coyotes who bring people across the border are all mass rapists. Women who cross the US border are told before they cross, you need to take birth control medication, because the coyotes will rape you when you cross the border. And like, so it's like over 90% of young women who cross the US border are raped by coyotes. Shit. So this is the reality. That's the reality. The US border, people don't understand. It's a major financial asset controlled by cartels. And when people cross, they have to pay a fee, and a lot of the women are raped. And that's just the brutal reality. But this movie depicts it as kind of women and children being helped out by fucking Robin Hood at the Texan border, which is this fucking nonsense. Especially nowadays, like, it's an atrociously timed movie as well, because this movie might have flown with the masses a decade ago. A decade ago, you had these stupid wee girls in Sweden holding up like, refugees, welcome, those kind of signs. It was this sort of like Mammy Merkel in Germany saying, we can manage it. We can bring 1 million random fucking bums in from Syria or something and just dump them in our cities. And there was a lot of sort of public good, not a lot, but there was some public goodwill for that. But now that's all gone. After seeing the result of mass migration in Europe and in the States, people are like, fuck this. We are done with this shite. The other day, Hillary fucking Clinton went on a stage and said mass immigration has been a failure. It's been horribly implemented, and we need to get our borders under control. Fucking Hillary Clinton said that the other day. Labour in the UK have had to massively reduce immigration. Okay. The entire Western world. In Japan, they had immigration for a while. They just elected a very conservative, very right-wing government to get these fucking bums from the third world out of their country, or to get them to at least behave themselves if they're going to be in the country. So the entire way, and not just the Western world, pretty much the entire developed world now is like against this mass immigration shite that has been forced on us. And at this very anti-immigration time comes a movie in which the heroes are open borders terrorists. Like, Jesus Christ, you could not have a worse timed movie if you tried.
Well, and they're ineffectual terrorists too. And like, the movie sympathizes with them, but it makes them also look dumb at the same time, because you really never know what they're fighting for or against or whatever. And they really do feel like children who are just, I'm going to destroy some property and that's going to make me feel like a revolutionary. And that's it. It's just dumb stuff. One of the gang called herself Jungle Pussy. That was her name.
Oh, that was funny. I like that. I did like that. That was really funny.
And that scene was, I think, like, that scene was dumb too. Like, it's hard to tell if it is taking itself seriously, because they're robbing a bank and Jungle Pussy just gets up on the thing and starts giving this monologue about how, I'm going to take this money and spread my revolution, and your whatever, you will bow to the jungle pussy, and my message will be heard. Like, it's just inane, empty monologue. It was a giant waste of time, though.
This movie is going to be remembered as a what the fuck were they thinking moment.
Yeah.
So it's like right now Hollywood is drunk on politics. So it looks at this 300-pound whale and thinks it's a supermodel. But eventually there's going to come a next day when Hollywood sort of rolls over in bed and just sees this beached whale next to it and thinks, what the fuck was I thinking? That's one battle after another. It's awful. It's Paul Thomas Anderson's worst movie, and it's won 5 million awards because of its politics.
Yeah. All right. Now this next one, Despot pulled his get out of Oscar free card on this next one. He keeps one in his pocket to wear, and I keep one as well. I that's why I didn't watch Poor Things. I noped out of that one. And Despot didn't hang. I hung on this one. So I'll tell you, you made the right call. This shit went absolutely nowhere. It is. And I'll tell you, I looked up some stuff on this one too, and it made it even worse. This is the most pretentious dog shit. So Secret Agent is this guy in the middle, is on the run. He's in Brazil in the 70s, and the setting of the movie, really, it's just supposed to be kind of various scenes that show you what it's like to live in an authoritarian, corrupt hellscape, which was Brazil in the 70s. The scene opens up with this stupidly long extended sequence of him getting gas, and there's a dead body, and the cops just don't show up to care. And then cops do show up, and it's just to try to shake him down and get him to bribe them. They don't even care about the dead body. They're just there to try to get some money from this guy. So everybody's corrupt. It is, he's also corrupt. He's on the run because he tried to use public funds to get a patent. And, I'm still not 100% sure what really happened there, but he has to rely on a corrupt police captain who is trying to cover up some sort of crime. They found a leg in a shark or something, and I guess he knew about that crime, was trying to cover it up. He must have threw somebody in the ocean. So just everybody's corrupt. Everybody is corrupt everywhere all the time. And that's really what this movie is about. It's just a picture of corruption, but there is no story whatsoever. Even this guy being on the run, if you read a description, the description will say, he's on the run from these hitmen. And they try to paint this picture of it being exciting. No, the hitmen don't show up until 2/3 of the way through the movie. And they don't really do much. You don't even see him really get shot. They do the whole flash forward to the future, and people are reviewing all of these old pieces of footage and old newspaper clippings, and they just run across a newspaper clipping that says, local man was shot, thinks it was a professional hit, and that's it. So this guy that you spend the entire movie with, you don't really see a resolution to him. You meet his son in the future, the present day, who doesn't really know much about him, and it's just... that's it. It's just random stuff. Oh, you didn't get to the part where they were doing the leg thing. It cuts to takes a complete tonal shift for a few minutes where the leg washes up on shore, and it's like a slasher movie. I mean, even the cinematography changes over to slasher movie style. And this leg, terrible CGI, which was appropriate because it was like supposed to be a shitty B movie slasher, starts hopping around, and it's in a park where it's just an orgy. People are fucking and sucking in this public park, bunch of sex going on, and the foot starts kicking people just randomly, just kicking people left and right, disembodied, bad CGI leg. And then we get back to the movie where they're reading about it in the paper and they're laughing about it. Now, I looked this up because I watched this movie. It's so fucking boring. And what is this thing about? Basically, this entire movie is... you had to be there movie. Apparently, a lot of it is references to shit that happened in Brazil in the 70s. If you are Brazilian or you've ever been to Brazil, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here that you're like, oh, that's so authentic. The hairy leg thing was apparently something about, it was like an allegory about police attacking gay guys, and the hairy leg was like a signal for where the cops were going to be. So it's just, it's such a local, you had to be there. It's just something you kind of have to know. It's a reference you just have to get. And the reason that this is an Oscar movie is because pretentious fucks can all go, oh, I totally get you. This is so Brazilian. I know all about, oh, the hairy leg. Yes. Oh gosh. If you don't know, I can't tell you about the hairy leg, but it's such a thing. Oh my goodness. It was so accurate, so authentic. No one fucking knows about this. Nobody at all. That's what this movie's about. It's for people to look up the references and pretend like they knew them all along. There is no story. There's no plot. It was just rambling, absolute nonsense. I was bored to tears.
Yeah, this is a complete wank fest. So I watched this for an hour and 10 minutes, and it was a struggle. It was such a struggle just to get through that. And I decided within about 20 minutes, fuck this. I am playing my Get Out of Oscars free card. Because every year I watch all the Oscars movies, but as a rule, I have a Get Out of Oscars free card, which allows me to just nope out on one movie. And I still had a few more movies to watch when I was watching The Secret Agent, but I thought, nope, this is it. This is the one I'm noping out of. I am fucking done with this. An hour of 10 minutes of this movie doing absolute fuck all. It just follows discount Pedro Pascal around while he goes to an apartment, talks to an old lady, fucks the woman upstairs, goes to a police station to literally sit and listen to a faraway conversation that you can barely hear for 10 minutes. That's a scene in this movie, while passing notes back and forth with the lady next to him. Like, it's astounding. It's like people are trying to write boring scenes. Walks around, looks at stuff. The two hitmen show up for 5 minutes and negotiate their price, and that's the last I've seen of them. This movie is dreadful. It has no plot. Absolutely no plot. There's no story here. There's no plot. There's no characters interacting toward a meaningful end goal. It's just a bunch of random scenes, and this guy is there, and he looks kind of like Pedro Pascal, only like a melted version of him, and it's boring as fuck. The entire opening scene takes place at a gas station, and it is so long. Like, the whole point of the scene is that it's setting up, like Greg said, it's setting up the thematic point of the movie whereby everyone is corrupt, right? This is a corrupt country at a corrupt time. And in the opening scene, the guy goes into a gas station and there's a dead body at the gas station. And apparently the guy tried to rob the gas station a couple of days ago and he got shot dead. But the ambulance hasn't come to pick him up yet because corruption. And then the cops come and the cops loiter for what feels like 20 minutes. And then they finally go up to discount Pedro Pascal and say, sir, would you like to make a contribution to the police carnival fund? They're eliciting a bribe from him and he doesn't have any money. So he gives them some cigarettes. There is no need for that scene to take 20 fucking minutes. No. Right? He drives down a roadblock. Here, let me rewrite that scene for you. He's driving toward a roadblock. They stop him. They look at his car. They take a minute to look at his car, trying to intimidate him. And then they lean in and they say, sir, would you like to donate to the police carnival fund before we let you through the roadblock, which is here for your safety, of course. That's all you need. You can do that in 2 minutes. Instead, they have this long, boring, lingering scene at a gas station, which, as I say, feels like it lasts 20 minutes. This is an awful, nothing burger, pretentious pile of shite. So why did this get nominated for Best Picture? It got nominated because the fart sniffers in Hollywood want to appear worldly, sophisticated, and cosmopolitan. They want to have this movie and say, oh, yes, it was a very profound Brazilian piece. I doubt you would get it, but you're just not as culturally erudite as me. It's that kind of movie. It's the kind of movie that so 4 critics from the same kind of social set go to see this movie. Every one of them are bored to tears in the cinema, and they all come out talking about how amazing it was. Why? Because every single one of them is terrified that the other 3 will think they're a Philistine if they admit that the movie was fucking awful and they hated it. This thing is a must-watch on Metacritic from the critics. Like, it's the kind of shit that a first-year film studies student will refer to as a masterpiece, because the film studies student is terrified that the other students in the class will think that, she just doesn't get it, or he just doesn't get it if he doesn't see all the symbolism. It's dreadful. It's cinephile bait garbage.
Yeah, it's awful. And it's the kind of movie that doesn't give you information, and it's not in the Sinners kind of way where it's little snippets that you can piece together if you want to, but there's still an overarching plot. This doesn't give you any information at all. And it's the pretentious shit of you're supposed to infer, you're supposed to get it. Like the hitmen guys show up. You're right. That's right. They were early in the movie and they're just there negotiating a price. And then finally that shows them a picture. So they're obviously after this guy, but you don't know what he's done, what he's on the run. They never, ever explain. It's just the guy that pays for the hitmen is wanting this guy dead because he's rich. He's rich and corrupt. That's why, because corruption. I mean, it's never more than that. And you're right. Like there are moments that display this just fine. They're in the office and they're all typing nonsense. And he looks over and the gal next to him is typing without paper. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm on a. This is a. What does she describe it as? Just like it's like a guaranteed government job." So she just openly is like, "I just tap the keys because I got to look like I'm doing something, but I'm on the payroll for just because, so just because corruption." And they just drag everything out to show that. But yeah, nothing ever goes anywhere. A lot of people die in the end, and that's that. It sucks. Don't watch this. No one ever watch. Don't even watch it to laugh at it. It's not even so bad it's good. It's
exactly.
awful.
It's just incredibly boring.
You got any super chats?
You should debate BSUP about the Oscar nominations in general. Their segment on it was very entertaining. I actually saw an argument between what's his name, the guy, the Scouser, and fuck, I always blank on names on stream. Between Vex Electronica and this Scouser film critic, I can't remember his name, but they were going at it. They were really going at it over Train Dreams, and Vex was very defensive. And
she liked that one.
She really liked. She described it as beautiful, and the Scouser was Reaper. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Reaper. Reaper was he was going to town on it, saying,
I'm
it's a
sure.
fucking piece of shit. It's fucking boring. The guy doesn't do anything. He just fucking stands around and then goes to do some lumberjacking. It's fucking shit. So they were going back and forth on that, and Reaper was right. I think he was maybe he wasn't too harsh on it. He was right. He was right. Vex was wrong. It was fucking dreadful. Yeah, that was a pretty good stream. It's a pretty good stream. I saw some of that. Let's see what else in the super chats. 2 seconds.
It was a pretty film. It just wasn't.
It was nice. Gifted 5 Greg Owen memberships.
Yeah, there you go. You know
Stickman, this is the same guy that made There Will Be Blood. I haven't seen that one. Paul Thomas Anderson did There Will Be Blood, which I only ever seen once when I was like 16 or 17. I remember it being a very good movie. Haven't seen it since, and I don't like Johnny Greenwood's music. He also did the music for One Battle After Another. He does write 1 or 2 good tracks. I tried to listen to the full soundtrack with One Battle After Another. By the way, if anyone's wondering, Johnny Greenwood is the guitarist for Radiohead. And it's just secondhand Penderecki. That's basically his classical music output. In fact, almost 100% of all of the Radiohead solo stuff is shite. The only essential listening among all of the solo stuff the Radiohead members have done is Tom York's first album, The Eraser, and the rest is just fucking forgettable. Like, even some of the better stuff is forgettable. Just The Eraser is the only good one. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Johnny Greenwood's film scores at all.
Any others?
Yeah, 2 seconds.
Somebody in my chat said that the main character from Secret Agent, I gotta find his name here, was the voice of the wolf in Puss in Boots 2.
Yeah.
This is a terrible downgrade from that. Poor fella. Wagner Moura.
He was brilliant in that. That was such a great movie. Love that wolf character. Despot, you're by far the biggest role model in my life right now, besides my parents. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, man. I mean, I don't consider myself any sort of role model. I'm not one of those fucking chads on the red pill movement telling you to fucking left and smash bitches. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that, man. Thank you very much. And a Stickman, also that OBAA poster looks like trash. What's OBA? One Battle After Another. Let's see it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the movie did flop, so it's not like... Oh, it does look trash. Yeah, I see what he's saying. If you look her coat, the color of her coat blends in with, and her hair blends in with Leonardo DiCaprio's hair. So it just becomes this one sort of big, ugly, matte colored mess. It doesn't pop. Yes, I can see what he's saying. That's quite bad compositionally. And the way her foot sort of disappears at the bottom isn't great. Yeah, there's far too much color blending going on here. Like even, and I know what I'm talking about because I've made hundreds of thumbnails at this stage. Like every time I release a video, I'm not even kidding, I make about 20 thumbnails. Now that's not to say they're 20 totally different thumbnails. There might be 3 versions, and then I'll do 5 or 6 or 7 versions of each. And then sort of just put them side by side and figure out which the best one is. But yeah, there's far too much color blending in this. It's pretty ratchet, actually. Yeah, that isn't a good image. It's not. It's quite a bad poster. I think that's all the super chats for now. Yeah, it is. Okay, so let's move on to.
I only got 9 out of 10. I was gonna watch this one last night, and unfortunately, I had a water heater emergency that I had to fix, so I didn't get a chance to watch this one. But Despot, you told me that it was kind of a waste of time anyway, so I may have dodged a bullet here.
Yeah, well, yeah, you did. I mean, honestly, if you'd watched this, you just would have been bored. So this is what I call Euroslop. If you watch a lot of European movies, you'll notice a lot of things that they have in common. So basically, a lot of European movies have to be low budget because they don't have the Hollywood infrastructure to make big, exciting action movies. And they just don't have the budgets that Hollywood has, so they can't really do it. And you might think, oh, well, Godzilla Minus One was made on a budget of $13 million, so why can't you say the Europeans do something like that? My guess would be labor laws. Most European countries that make this stuff, like Germany, France, in this case, Sweden, I think, they have very strict labor laws. So if you hire a very large crew to make the movie, you cannot keep the costs down. It's going to be ruinously expensive. So something like that. I'm not any sort of authority on this. That would just be my guess. Anyway, but yeah, labor laws, they're fucking dreadful. They handicap all the industries. Get rid of them. All right. Anyway, this movie, Sentimental Value, it's Euroslop. So it's lots of people talking in cafes, sitting in living rooms, drinking wine, discussing the past. There's lots of. The movie is basically about intergenerational trauma, and the main dramatic tension in the movie occurs between Stellan Skarsgård and his daughter, like the character's daughter, not Stellan Skarsgård's daughter, but Stellan Skarsgård's good in it, and the daughter. The whole cast is good, but that's basically it. There's a lot of tension between him and his daughter because he wasn't a good father. He was this director who was always away making movies and, banging actresses and cheating on her mother, his wife. And then that broke up the family, and she feels very bitter about this. And now he wants her to star in one of his movies. Which is probably going to be his last movie because he's an old man now. And there's a lot of struggle over that. And then Ellie Fanning comes in to take that role that she initially turned down, but it doesn't work out because he's trying to get Ellie Fanning to be his daughter in the movie, and then his daughter comes into the movie eventually. Does that sound exciting, Greg?
I'm riveted. You got to keep going.
So that's what it's about. It's a really dull, boring meditation on intergenerational family trauma. There are hints throughout the movie that a lot of the current family trauma that this family is experiencing started with the Holocaust, when some relative was arrested because she was in, I can't remember if this is Norway or Sweden, some fucking Viking country. She was arrested because she was in the Viking resistance against the Nazis. Then that's what started like a rupture in the family, and there's a lot of trauma because of that. And then one of this guy's movies is about the Holocaust, and you see the scene from his movie in which two German soldiers are trying to catch 2 Jewish children, and they're running at them across a field, and one of them escapes and one of them gets caught, which I think is why this got an Oscar nomination. This is the Holocaust movie, because you always got to have a Holocaust movie in there.
Yeah.
So this is kind of, it's like Holocaust light. It's like the far strong consequences of the trauma created by the Holocaust, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's born shite. It is sort of like a much, much worse version of, they had it last year, the Hold on. Just give me a moment to look this up.
I'm exhausted of generational trauma. I'm so tired of that
That's
phrase.
what it's about,
I'm so tired of that as a concept. I'm so sick of writers that clearly just hate their parents, and the movie is just a trauma dump of them telling us they hate their parents, and boomers bad and they suck and we're smarter, and I'm traumatized because of generational trauma. I'm so tired of it.
You didn't like those themes of generational trauma dumped into The Acolyte? You didn't think that was awesome?
No. Shockingly, as interesting as a concept as it is, sadly, no. Nor did I like it. Nor did I like it in one battle after another.
Yeah, this is like a vastly inferior sort of diet version of the Zone of Interest, kind of in that it's that same kind of Euroslop formula. Only the Zone of Interest is really good. But in this case, yeah, it's just really dull, forgettable European cinema that has to be in the Oscars nominations list because the Academy are very worldly and cosmopolitan and cultured, and they just get this stuff. You don't get it, Greg. I don't get it, and our peasant viewers don't get it.
No.
But the Academy gets it. They get it.
Yeah. The issue, people are wondering why, somebody wondered why we got to trudge through so much of this shit. And part of it is because the Best Picture category went to 10 for some reason about 5 years ago, and it just needs to be 5. Like every other, we're going to talk about the other award categories in a minute here, and they're all 5. It's 5 people, it's 5 songs, it's whatever. But for some reason, Best Picture, I don't know, they want 10, and you end up getting filler bullshit like this. And The Secret Agent,
the perfect description of this movie, filler bullshit. This is just filler bullshit. If you want, don't watch this movie. It's a waste of your time.
Yeah.
It is just a complete waste of your time. Spend 2 hours doing anything else. It's time better spent.
All right. Now this one's interesting because we're going to talk about Marty Supreme, which is a really interesting, fun movie with a shit ending. And the same thing was true for Bugonia. It's quirky, it's weird, it's fun, and then a shit ending. This was the absolute inversion of those, where it is an hour and 45 minutes of I wanted to set myself on fire just for the interesting novelty of that. But then the last 15 minutes of this movie are extremely emotional, and they drive home all of these themes, and it's just such a cool ending, and it really hits heavily, and it's a neat idea that they're selling. But holy shit, the build up to it was the slowest slow pan. Look at the vista. Let's have conversations that go nowhere. Oh God, it was such a damn drag. So you finished this. I know you finished this one because you noped out on Secret Agent. What did you think on this one?
This one I liked a lot more than you. So although I understand that most people are going to be bored by this. So I like Shakespeare. I like this kind of English period drama. I find this to be quite an interesting time in English history. Not from a political perspective, yes, but also I just like the everyday of it, like how people lived at this time in England, in the everyday. That was quite interesting to me. And there was some mystical stuff going on whereby they're suggesting that William Shakespeare's wife, Anne Hathaway, who in this movie is called Agnes, they're suggesting that in this movie, she's a witch, and she's born in a forest, but to a witch, and then she births her first child in a forest, I presume for the protection of the supernatural powers that exist next to this mystical tree and all that stuff. There's a lot going on thematically. There's a lot of visual symbolism here in this movie. I thought that Paul Mescal was excellent as William Shakespeare. Still not as good as fucking Ralph Fiennes' brother. What's his name? He was awesome in Shakespeare in Love. Was it Joseph Fiennes? Yeah, I guess so. So Joseph Fiennes in... Oh, wait, hold on. This is doing my fucking head in. Just give me a second. Because I love Shakespeare in Love. I think that's a brilliant movie. Yeah, Joseph Fiennes. Joseph Fiennes was the best Shakespeare. He was awesome in that. But Paul Mescal's not as good as that. But at the same time, Paul Mescal doesn't have as much to work with. It's more of a one note Shakespeare. He's very, very depressed. At the start of the movie, he's sort of in love and romantic, and that's pretty good. And then he just kind of is very frustrated, and then he's kind of depressed, and there's definitely range there in the character, but not as much as Joseph Fiennes in Shakespeare in Love, which is just a far more fun Shakespeare movie than this. This is it's probably the most beautiful movie of the lot. If you can just chill out and enjoy it and not demand things to happen, like there is a plot there, things are happening, they're happening slowly, but at the same time, it's depicting a time in human history which was slower. You know what I mean? Like this was there's not as much happening in people's lives. Like when Shakespeare publishes a play, there's an old lady who brings, or when Shakespeare starts advertising Hamlet, like the actual play, there's an old lady who brings a copy of it to Agnes and says, the whole town's talking about it. And this is a time when that's going to be the big thing happening in town, and there's not much else going on because it's just a very slow time of life. So I felt I quite liked that the way it's filmed and the pacing of the story sort of reflects that slower time of life, and it's very nice. If you just relax into that. And there are things that happen prior to the last 15 minutes, which is mostly Agnes's reaction to seeing Hamlet for the first time, because the idea here is Shakespeare's son was called Hamnet, and he died at the age of 11. Probably he was a victim of the plague, and Shakespeare went into depression as a result of this. And it's theorized by many Shakespearean scholars that Hamlet was written as a psychological coping mechanism for the death of Shakespeare's son. He wrote this to deal with the trauma of his son's death and as a kind of tribute to his son. So he called this Hamlet. And if you look in the text, like the ghost of the father trying to communicate and to connect with the son, it's very, very interesting. It's almost like Shakespeare's trying to talk to his own dead son in his play. Those are all theories. Different people who have read the play and different academics will have their own ideas as to how true that is. But there's no question that Hamlet was definitely that Shakespeare was coping and dealing with the trauma of his son's death while writing Hamlet. How much of his son is in the play, who knows? But it was definitely a major psychological component in the play. And so it's examining that. In the movie, his son Hamnet dies, and then he goes off to write Hamlet, but he's estranged. The death of the son is so devastating for him and his wife that they've kind of become estranged. And then the wife has this kind of, it's a really beautiful moment where she has a kind of, she doesn't necessarily heal from the death of her son, but the process of healing begins when she watches the play Hamlet. She understands when she sees the play why her husband has done this, why he has written this play. It has named this play after their son and why he has included these themes, lots of father-son themes in Hamlet, as a means of dealing with their son's death. It's an amazing, amazing scene. And like you said, it all builds up very well to it. It's also a good comeback from Chloe Zhao, because I think, was her last movie The Eternals? I can't remember. She did The Eternals, and this was an example of a perfectly acceptable indie director being grabbed up by Hollywood, who are obviously hungry for female directors. And they give her this production that why the fuck would you give an indie, a sort
Eternals was the last one.
Chloe Zhao does emotional indie movies which focus on what Chloe Zhao herself calls the female gaze. And she doesn't consider the female gaze to be a physical thing. It's in her mind, it's not Chris Hemsworth, and his world-class body and his awesome ass in the camera. In her mind, the female gaze is more the emotional connection that the woman has to the male character on screen, which is actually a much better understanding of the female gaze, as Greg knows, because he's read all that chick lit shit.
Woo, good stuff. I'm gonna make another video. I'm gonna milk the shit out of that. I had to read a bunch.
So yeah, that is kind of the female gaze. It's the emotional connection with the man and how she thinks of the man and the psychological impact he has on her. And that's where Chloe Zhao really, that's one of her strengths, and it really shines through in this movie. Like, she's not a fucking action movie director. Jesus, you can tell that watching this.
Yeah.
So she's in the right lane here. And it's really nice to see her make something good after the debacle that was the Eternals, and to get away from that Hollywood Marvel bollocks and do something that's actually good. But in more general terms, the music in this is very nice. Cinematography is great. The performances are universally excellent. The chemistry between Paul Mescal and Jessie Buckley, the woman who plays his wife, great, really great chemistry.
Yeah.
I obviously had a much better time with it than Greg did, but as I say, that's because the movie sort of coincides with a lot of my personal interests, especially with regard to history. I'm a big history geek. So if you're a bit of a history geek and you like Shakespeare, you have a bit of patience for slower movies, there's a lot of ands here. There's a lot of qualifiers. But if you tick those qualifying boxes, you'll quite like this movie. Otherwise, you'll probably just be bored.
It's so the thing I like about it is, and I'll admit I was a little bored, and there because I'm not a big, and I've read some Shakespeare and I'm familiar enough with it, but I'm not a big buff. So like after I watched it, I looked a few things up, and yeah, there are some interesting things to note. Like his wife is sort of a witch, but also maybe just really, and an herbologist, which at this time would be kind of witchy. When her daughter gets the plague, she's treating her with all these type of herbs. And so in Hamlet, with Ophelia sending the message through the different types of flowers and things, like it's kind of a nod to his wife. So when you read that and you're familiar with Hamlet, it's like that connection. The thing I like about this movie is that the big theme is that art is influenced by life, and art also helps us to process life at the same time. And so that is what I liked about it. I like that theme, that in the beginning of the movie, he's courting her, and then we cut to him at night in his room, and he's writing some of the famous lines about Juliet being the sun, and so obviously he's inspired to write these very famous romantic lines because of this woman, right? His life experiences influence his art. And then obviously the death of his son is what helps him, write Hamlet, and he deals with it in that way. But also he brings that experience, that authenticity into the work, which is what we're seeing a huge lack of right now. We have people that have been raised on television, and so they write not through their lives. They're just writing copies of what they've seen on television and in movies, and they have no experience to inject into it. And I thought that was really, it was a great way to show how that works. And then also the ending is beautiful because it shows how watching a really good piece of art, a really good movie, whatever, it can bring about, for his wife, there was this catharsis that she helps to process. Or sometimes you see, I don't know, you see something that is just moving. And there is a great joy in being able to see something that you feel connected to, or you feel an emotional, you feel understood somehow, or it just helps you to process with something. And the ending does bring it together really nicely in this this back and forth between how life influences art, and art helps us sort out life, and how important art really is. If it's good, if it's quality, a quality theater performance or something can really affect you. But it does take its time getting there, and I didn't love that part of it. So
but it is an interesting theme, though, and I think for art as great as Hamlet, which is obviously one of the greatest things ever written, it does need. I think it needs to come from a place of great, profound psychological depth, and you're going to need to have a lot of life experience to write something of that quality.
Yeah,
and you see it not just between Hamlet and his dead father and his uncle who has usurped the throne, but also, for example, there's a great famous monologue which I absolutely love. Have you ever heard the expression "neither a lender nor a borrower be"?
I have, but I don't know that I know the usage of it or the meaning.
Well, it's from Hamlet, and hold on, I'm just pulling it up here. Let me see here. It's actually too long for me to read out, but is it Polonius? It's a father giving advice to his son. And he goes through this monologue, and it's absolutely brilliant. I'll give a few of them here. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Those friends thou hast, and their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hopes of steel, but do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each new hatched, unfledged comrade. yeah, you kind of have to stop and think about all those things because the language is so flowery and antiquated. But when you actually break down everything that this father is saying to his son, it's absolutely brilliant advice. In fact, when my son's older, I plan to sit down with him with this Hamlet monologue, and we're going to go through it line by line. And I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to challenge my son. I'm going to say, why is this good advice, and what does it really mean? And that might sound a bit corny to some of my listeners, but I don't really give a shit. Like, that's how I plan to raise my son. I want him to have a good philosophical foundation for how he's going to act in life. I can't just say to him, don't smoke weed, or, don't fuck 10 women without a condom or something like that. You actually have to get him to understand the philosophy of the life he's going to lead. What are the philosophical foundations of your behavior? This is very important stuff. Because without those foundations that are going to dictate your moral character, you're like a paper bag in the wind that could just be blowing anywhere. You've got to have those principles, and you got to understand why they are there. It can't just be coming from a place of dictation, like do this, don't do that. It's tyrannical and it won't work. But anyway, I love the themes in this movie. They're interesting, and we can't stay on this forever. But pretty good movie. Let's move on.
Yeah, you got chats?
Let's have a look.
These last two are interesting.
Oh, let's do this first. Thank you, Greg. Expect a discussion on animation. We're going to go through all the Oscar categories soon, so we'll get on to the animation categories as well.
Doge's going to email me some animation stuff.
Look at all the text squeezed in the middle of the poster. Yeah, that as well, where the images of the actors' faces are as well. Sentimental Value gets worst poster. Yeah, it's a dreadful poster. Yeah. And reflection of myself. Indeed, Don Yut Monsoon, reflection of yourself. Now, let's move on to Marty Supreme.
So this is another one I am torn on because it is a very entertaining movie. I mean, it's nonstop. It is. I don't want to be cliche, edge of your seat, but I felt like there was tension constantly. You never know what's going to happen next. It is for a movie, when you say, hey, it's a movie about ping pong, you're like, oh, that sounds like Oscar trash. And then it turns out to be this. I don't know if you ever saw Running Scared with Paul Walker, where it's just nonstop, one crazy night of him running from gangsters all night long. Like, that is what this movie reminded me of. It is just, it's crazy all the way through. But the ending is they didn't know what to do. I find that this is happening more and more, where people have these ideas. I have a couple of thoughts. I want to make a movie. And then they get to the end. They're like, I don't know what to do. Cut to credits. Let the audience just figure it out. I don't fucking know. What were you? Did you like this one? What do you think?
Yeah, I liked it. And I would be interested to hear what you had against the ending, because I quite liked the ending. What was your problem with it?
I think my issue is partly it's a personal thing where I hate this character by the end of the movie. He's an absolute piece of shit. So it's like, as a sport, because it's a sports movie, really at its core, it's a sports movie about table tennis and, man chasing his dream, man overcoming himself, whatever. Right. But the problem is that instead of like Rocky, where it's hometown hero trains really hard to become the best and overcome the villain, this guy, the villain, is in his own mind. This dude doesn't even realize that he has an this Japanese guy doesn't even realize he has an arch nemesis in Marty. They present him as a super nice guy. He's just a poor deaf dude who runs a clock shop, and he likes ping pong, and he's the world champ, and he's just back home, hometown hero back home, just doing his thing, humble guy, whatever. And Marty is like, this motherfucker, he's going down. And this dude doesn't even know the Marty exists, right? And by the end of the movie, he's betrayed everyone. People are dead. Multiple people are dead. Again, in this movie about table tennis, people are shot to death. He's betrayed everyone. He's burnt all of his bridges. By the end of the movie, he doesn't even know where his next meal is coming from. He doesn't even know where he's going to sleep after the ending scene. And in the end, it's all for his own personal ego to have defeated the Japanese player. It's not even a real tournament, so it really means nothing. And he goes home to his girlfriend that he abandoned at the hospital to fly around the world to just beat this guy, just this one obsession. And they have a baby, and he's looking at the baby and he's crying. And it's just kind of a vague maybe he sees that this is the important thing. Maybe he realizes, wow, all of that was stupid. This is the most important thing. I don't know. But there is, I think this is like a personal thing where I want to see something happen to this character that shows all of this has been horrible. Like at the end of Rounders, Edward Norton gets his comeuppance. That's the point of the movie. And the other, can't think of his name, Matt Damon, leaves the life behind. He's learned the lesson. What bothers me about this movie is there is none of that. And I think that really bugs me. That's the thing that I don't like about it is in the end, the shitty guy wins and he just gets what he wants. But also he doesn't. Like as soon as this scene is over, what the fuck is he going to do? He has nothing.
Like the thing is, though, I don't think you quite got the ending of Rounders. Like, who was the sucker in Rounders?
I mean, in the end, Damon goes back, right? He goes to Vegas.
Yeah. Like Damon's the sucker. Because the point of the movie, like, it makes it very clear. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you mismanage your bankroll, you're going to go broke. You're just another sucker. And after Damon consistently makes the mistake of betting too much on poker games. And at the end, what does he do? He takes his fucking, whatever it is, his 10 grand or whatever, and he uses all of it to go buy into the fucking world championship. And it's like, Jesus Christ, he hasn't learned a fucking thing. And I know what I'm talking, because I used to play poker online for a few years now. I played it and I was fanatical at one point. I played a huge amount of it in my third year of university. I did make some money, but not much. But I remember, like, at the end of the movie, he goes off and these tournaments, they're very difficult to even cash in, like to get to the final 10% and cash, actually be able to make some profit. That is extremely difficult. From a mathematical perspective, you can play brilliantly and you're still unlikely to cash in any given tournament. So he's still the same gambling degenerate he always was at the end of the movie, but it's presented in a kind of heroic fashion. It's a really clever kind of ironic ending.
I think it's that he goes straight instead of being a backroom hustler and with these gangsters and all of that. So I think that's why they present it in a hero-y fashion, because he's a professional. He's above board, I think, is what they're trying to get at there. I forgot how that one ended.
The point is, that's still in his mind. It's a facade. Whether it's a backroom or whether it's the World Series, it doesn't matter. It's the exact same thing. The facade of professionalism doesn't make him any less of a sucker and a degenerate. That's the point. And also that he glorifies, like he's chasing glory. Like there is no glory in poker. There's no glory. There's none. It's just a fucking game that you play to make money. Everything else is bullshit. But he doesn't understand that, and that's what makes him a sucker. He thinks there's glory there. And there isn't. There's glory in a boxing match. There's glory in ping pong, right? But in poker, nah, it's money. And that's it. Anyway, this movie, Marty Supreme, so I thought this was excellent. But the opening, even the ending you're talking about where he goes to see the baby, I can't imagine that it means anything other than this guy who is profoundly narcissistic and a real piece of shit, when he finally sees his baby, the reality of his circumstances finally hit home. And in that moment, I think he realizes he's crying, obviously, because he's become a father and he sees the baby and it's beautiful. But I also think there's a moment of realization that this victory he's gone off to chase in Japan has been not only hollow, but it's not even a victory. It's really just damaged him, because he's abandoned not even his wife. He's abandoned some other guy's wife who he got pregnant.
This girl that he knocked up.
He's abandoned his various creditors who he owes money to. He's left one of his friends for shit. Like he trashed his friend's car and he's got to give him some money to fix the car and he just leaves him for shit. And I think maybe when he sees the baby, he finally comes to realize, oh, fuck. Man, I'm a piece of shit. Like that I cannot interpret it any other way than that. There's no way the director could possibly have meant anything else other than this is his only real victory. Like for all of his ping pong, the only victory he has in the movie is the moment of realization that he's been a total piece of shit. And this is, this is real meaning right here. Because he is the villain. Like I like this movie because Timothy Chalamet plays a villain in this, right?
Yeah. And he's good. He is excellent in this.
Fuck, he is brilliant. And here's the thing: it's a great villain because he's a piece of shit. He has sex with not one but two other men's wives. So he starts out with this girlfriend who's married, and he gets her pregnant. And while she's pregnant and trying to be in a relationship with him, he goes and bangs Gwyneth Paltrow, who he knows is married to some millionaire. And he basically just does that for a thrill, for fun, for the sake of his own ego. And so he's a real piece of shit. But the other thing is he's quite, on a personal level, on a sit down to have a beer level, he's quite a likable guy. Like, this is a guy who, if you were to go to a bar with and have a beer with, you'd have a great time. He's a fun guy. Like,
you would for that night, because it's very much like DiCaprio and Now You See Me. Like, he is a con artist and he is charismatic as hell.
Yeah, he's charismatic. He's likable on a very surface level. But if you hang out with him for more than a day, he's gonna fuck you over.
Yeah,
and he's going to make you feel bad. He's going to make you feel like you're like he's doing you a favor, or that you're bad for feeling like he fucked you over. He's brilliant at manipulating people's emotions. It's almost like a dark gift handed to him by Satan. It's awesome. And Timothy Chalamet, as I say, he is just phenomenal in this. He's maybe the best actor of his generation at this point, and this movie proves it. But fundamentally, the movie is a comedy of errors, right? It's following this crazy ping pong player around, and everywhere he goes, shit just goes wrong because he's not listening to anybody. Like, he goes into this shit. He's on the run from the police. He calls up his black friend, who's a taxi driver, says, "Look, you got to fucking get me out of Little China, wherever the hell he lives." Black guy comes over, drives him to his hotel. They hustle some money. I think they go to a fucking hotel. The Hustlers is another story, another scene. They go to a hotel, and then the hotel owner says, "Do not use the shower, right? Don't use the fucking shower." And then what does he do? He uses the shower so the bathtub falls through the fucking floor. It's a comedy of errors, and it's really funny. It's fast paced. It's charismatic. I tell you what, the music in this is fucking great. I've listened to this soundtrack like a dozen times. I've been listening to it while I've been listening to this soundtrack while working on my Hidden Figures script. It's so good. It's just a great soundtrack. It's got this beautiful blend between Japanese traditional music and 80s synthwave. Fucking awesome. Listen to the soundtrack from Marty Supreme, and just all around a great time. This might be my favorite movie of 2025. This could be the best movie of 2025, in my opinion. I'm not going to keep watching more and more stuff from 2025. I think I've seen enough 2025 fucking movies. At this stage, I think I'm confident in saying that the best movie of 2025 is either Marty Supreme or K-pop Demon Hunters. It's one of those two.
Yeah.
Not sure which. But I thought this was an excellent movie, and this should, in my opinion, win Best Picture. We'll give our predictions in a bit, but this was my top pick, basically. I think this movie's great. And as also with the ending, it couples with the beginning, because in the beginning, there's the scene of the sperms going toward the egg. By the way, when those sperms were going toward the egg, you get a few minutes of Marty talking to his girlfriend, and he's very likable at the start, right? He's a good salesman, and he's going with his girlfriend. He's this fun, charismatic, exciting guy, so I was invested in the character. And when I saw the sperm go toward the egg, I remember thinking to myself, yes, fucking get in there, son. I was more emotionally invested in that one fucking sperm than I was in the entirety of The Secret Agent. And then, of course, that couples with the end. It's the beginning and the end, the beginning of life, and then the baby's born. So it frames the movie in that sense. It's kind of that setup and payoff, which makes the ending feel more appropriate. But I thought it was a great movie.
I agree. I thought it was fantastic. I don't, we're going to disagree on the ending. I think you're reading more optimism there. To me, he sees the child as just, my issue is that nothing we see in the character would indicate that he feels, oh, wow, nothing is more important than this baby. To me, I see the ending as him just seeing like almost this extension of his own ego. Like, holy shit, this is another me. Wow, I'm so incredible. He's just off this high of having defeated his arch nemesis that is only in his mind. And he goes home with the military guys, and they're slapping on the back, and he's, Kevin O'Leary, he's lost and fuck you, rich guy. I'm not going to dance to your tune. And I mean, he's riding high on life, and he gets home and the girl takes him back, and he's got this baby. And to me, it just feels like these are, he views it as just another triumph. I don't think anything, maybe there's a cut scene or something, but I don't think anything suggests in his character that he views any of his previous stuff as a mistake or unimportant or whatever.
Well, this is all very interesting because we can we see the same ending, but we have different interpretations of it. And I love that about the ending. You can have those different interpretations.
This one is, I think everybody should watch this one though. It is, I mean, even if you don't like the ending, you're still going to love this movie because it's a fucking ride. I mean, it is, to me, I'm going to make a video about all these, but I compare this movie to a running toddler. And anybody that's ever seen a toddler running, like a 2-year-old running, they don't actually run. They fall forward, and then one leg just catch, and every step is just a last second savior from falling on their face. It is a series of last minute saves. That is this entire movie. And it's like, I felt stressed watching it because I'm like, oh my God, dude, you're scamming these people. He gets caught by the scammers, then they die in a fire. A mobster guy catches him, kidnaps the girlfriend. Like, holy shit, where is this going to go next? Every time you think he's catching a break, something else happens, but then he pivots and charms his way out of it in the sleaziest ways possible. So it's weird too, because you're watching this and you're like cheering him on because it is a sports movie and it's man chasing dream. But also you are continually reminded like, oh no, but he's a sleazeball. I shouldn't cheer him on. But he plays it so charismatically, and Chalamet does such a great job that you are still rooting for him somehow. It's crazy. It's a really fun one.
Like, I just love that the director understands what a movie should be. Like Josh Safdie, a movie is supposed to be entertaining as fuck.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what that is. Like, whatever else a movie is, it can be clever, it can be profound, it can be beautiful. But if it's not entertaining, I don't give a fuck. And Josh Safdie understands that. Him and his brother did Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler, great movie. This is his first solo movie, Marty Supreme. And I tell you what, man, what a fucking great director. The cinematography, music, production design, acting, all of it is excellent. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Last one.
Man, I'm kind of the least, of all the movies, this one excites me the least to talk about. Anyway,
yeah,
you can start us off, Greg.
This one was beautiful. There's been a lot of talk of people talking about the sets. The sets were gorgeous. The Frankenstein's lab was really cool looking. I mean, visually, it's a gorgeous movie. My issue with it, and I haven't read the original, so I'm not sure what the theme of that was, but this is another one where I feel like the ending just didn't know what it wanted to do, and it kind of just leaves off on a semi-hopeful note, except that nothing in the movie sort of supports that. And also what bugged me about this one is, and I'll go back and watch it again for the video, because there are a lot of lines in this movie that are spoken, to Mia Goth and Jacob Elordi's credit. They're spoken with such drama that you hear it and you're like, damn, wow, this is a dramatic scene. And if you stop for a moment and actually think about the words that were said, they make no fucking sense at all. Not one bit. Most of Mia Goth's dialogue makes no sense, but she delivers it in this snarky, smarmy kind of way. And you see Oscar Isaac react to it, and everybody acts like what she said was smart, but you stop and think like, those words didn't really mean a lot, but she said them as though she were smart, and you believe it. And the same thing with the creature. Once he gets to the captain's quarters and he starts, giving these soliloquies, like they sound so profound, but they're not. This is all flash, and I wouldn't say no substance. That's being dramatic, but it's not as much substance as there should be. And as there's more visual, there's more flash than substance here for sure. And then the ending is just the man dies. And so it's like, what, the creature can now live or something. And so you just get this ending where the sun is rising and it's a new dawn for him or something. But None of his.
This is very. It's very Guillermo
problems are
del
solved.
Toro, because in his movies, he's brilliant with production design. His movies have a very unique look. Great with cinematography. Great with acting. A lot of there's many elements of his direction which is excellent. But one thing he's very weak at is character. His characters don't really have arcs in his movies. If you look at, for example, Pan's Labyrinth, the little girl starts out as a really nice, hopeful little girl, and she finishes that way, right? I mean, I know the character dies and then she goes to some sort of utopia, a heaven-like place, but basically she's the same character throughout. The evil, nasty, fascist Franco man, insert the colonel in Franco's army, is just evil the whole time. He's just this cartoon villain. And then the mother is basically a sort of victim of the patriarchy. And it's just these completely static characters. And it's very much the same in Frankenstein. These characters are static. Oscar Isaac he's a very, very driven, determined, hardworking, borderline mad scientist. And that's just him throughout the entire movie. He doesn't change a jot. Obviously, the monster has to change because he has to go through essentially his infancy and mature into a developed mind. But as a character, like once he's developed, there's no change there. So it's a fun story with really great production design. It looks great, but the characters, again, very Guillermo del Toro, they are completely static. And by the way, just on Pan's Labyrinth, it's one of those movies that I really liked at the time, but now I hate it because it depicts Franco's army as these evil fascists and the communists as the good guys. And that could not conceivably be further from the truth. Like, Franco was responding to a communist government that had gone insane in Spain and was purging the entire country. Like, thousands of people, of Catholics, of nuns, priests were being murdered by these government-supported mobs. And the army was aware if we don't do something, they're eventually going to start purging the army. So the army were actually in rebellion against this insane, corrupt government. And then Franco won and saved Spain from communism. Like, I'm not saying that Franco's guys were necessarily were heroes or were the best possible government ever to have occurred in the Spanish Peninsula, but Jesus, man, they were a lot better than the communists would have been. The communists would have interned half the fucking country in gulags. So this notion that I hate this fucking World War II revisionist nonsense that because he was supported by the Nazis and Mussolini, he was necessarily a Nazi or a fascist himself. He was a nationalist. He was an anti-communist nationalist who saved Spain. I fucking hate how Franco has been blackened by this shitty fucking boomer libtard history. Anyway, that's my wee rant over about Franco Spain. But and Guillermo del Toro was part of that with fucking Pan's Labyrinth, depicting these communist dickheads as the good guys. Fuck that movie.
Well, what's funny about what's funny, it kind of reinforces the Del Toro effect, is I don't remember what that movie was about. I don't. It's been so long since I've seen it. I forgot what the plot or point was, but damn, do I remember what it looked like. Because Del Toro makes visually striking movies, but then there's not a lot under the hood, unfortunately. And so you forget kind of what the point or the themes or whatever. And even he seems to lose them at a certain point. And Frankenstein is very much the same way. It's very disappointing in that way because there's so much potential here. And it's just it's very wishy-washy.
It's the kind of movie that got a lot of hate when it came out, but the further you get away from it, the less you like it, and ultimately, after you're finished mentally digesting it, you're left with a movie which was good, not great, and certainly not something you're likely to go back to.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's sort of like you were talking about with Wonder Man, where you were saying, like, I didn't hate it, but would I recommend someone spend their evening with it? No, I probably wouldn't. And that's how I feel about Frankenstein, where if somebody asked me, did you like it? I'm like, well, I didn't hate it. And if they said, would you recommend I watch it? I'm like, yeah, I can't. No, I wouldn't recommend you give 2 hours up to this. It's just kind of okay. It's pretty, but it's just okay overall.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's it for the Oscars movie. Like, before we move on, Let's just talk about what we think of this year's picks, because I think I've been doing this since 2023. So I've done 3, 4, 5, and now 6. So I've done 4 Oscar streams talking about all the Oscars movies, and this year is by far the best.
Yeah.
They've only got, in my opinion, one genuinely embarrassingly bad pick this year, and that is The Secret Agent. And even that is not anything. It's not as bad as Emilia Perez, although it's in the same league. Like, make no mistake, The Secret Agent is fucking awful.
But it's not offensive. It's not trying to tell you that you can murder a bunch of people, but if you change your sex and then help find the bodies that you buried, that you're a hero and that you'll get a saint's burial. Like, oh my God, it was offensively bad. It was an offensive idea that movie was based around. It was disgusting. Nothing this year that was anywhere close to that. It was just boring, pretentious shit.
Yeah. And they did get, 4 or 5 really good movies in there. So this is overall, I think this is quite a good pick, quite a good crop of movies they've selected here. What do you think?
Yeah, I fully agree. And this is the reason that I think they need to go back to 5, because you've got a solid 5 movies here. You've got Marty Supreme, you've got Hamnet, definitely F1, and Sinners. When I just named 4, and you could pick a 5th one in there, but you've got 4 or 5 really solid movies here, and then 5 or 6 of these just feel like absolute shit garbage that was stuffed in there, like Sentimental Value or especially Secret Agent. It's just there to feel good about these awards.
Like, what the fuck is Dreams doing here?
Yeah, it was beautiful. I can agree. Like, I can see why Vex was saying that, but as a movie, it was shit. It was a novella. It was a short film that got turned into a 2-hour long. It was an hour and 45. It was the shortest one of the year, actually, and it felt like 5 hours long. It was awful.
Yeah. So let's go through the nominated categories and we'll give our thoughts on those.
Yep. So pull me up. I think I'm sharing, so add me there. We'll go through a couple of these. So actor in a leading role, I don't know about you, but I think Chalamet he crushed it in Marty Supreme.
This isn't even, I was looking through these briefly. It's not even close. Leonardo DiCaprio, he was good, but his character is kind of one note when it comes down to it.
Yeah, all you gotta do is pretend to be a stoner. It's not a hard character to sell.
Yeah. Ethan Hawke, I don't even know what Blue Moon is. Michael B. Jordan, he was great as both those characters. He did a great job. Oh fuck! Is that the discount Pedro Pascal?
Yes. What did he act? He just stumbled around and mumbled. I mean,
there's no range. His character has no range. It looks like a normal dude the whole time. Like, what the fuck is he even doing in there? So that one is a no-brainer for Timothée Chalamet. Absolute no-brainer.
Yeah, 100%. If he wasn't there, I mean, Michael B. Jordan really is a close second, but no, Timothée Chalamet just absolutely. I mean, he was, every scene he was, it was on fire in every single scene, and part of it was the movie itself lent itself to really going hard, but he didn't like chew up the scenery. He just, really, really good. Supporting actor. I got to go with, I haven't seen Sentimental Value, and I'd like Stellan Skarsgård usually, but I got to go with Benicio del Toro. He was honestly the only comedy in One Battle Out for Another. He was, he was a Mexican sensei trying to offer these sage words of wisdom while DiCaprio was having a full panic attack. That was great.
Good. He was good, but I don't think the character necessarily had enough range. There just wasn't enough for him to do. It was a very sort of, it felt like a very journeyman type performance to me. Just show up, do a pretty good job, get your paycheck and go home. And that's really all he could do. The character just wasn't there for him to sink his teeth into. So it was good performance. But Jake Elordi was excellent as Frankenstein. It says Frankenstein. I think they mean Frankenstein's monster.
It says Frankenstein. What is that?
They mean Frankenstein's monster, and then
he's Frankenstein's monster.
Sean Penn was excellent in One Battle After Another, but again, it's a very one-note character. For me, it's Delroy Lindo. Delroy Lindo, who plays the drunk piano player in Sinners, and I think he's going to win because he's old, he's black. It's his turn, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Sean Penn has won 1 or 2 Oscars before, and they're going to give it to Delroy Lindo.
Yeah, but
Stellan
again,
Skarsgård was very good, but again, it's a kind of Euroslap performance where it's just depressed old man shouts at daughter kind
yeah.
of thing.
Well, and again, Lindo's going to win because, and the reason Sinners, I think, is going to win because you're right. All those reasons. Yeah, he's an old guy. He's black. It's his turn, all that. But he also was really great in that movie. So it's going to be easy to hand him that award.
It is the best performance here. He was brilliant in the movie. That was my favorite performance in the movie.
Actress, leading role. Gosh, I haven't seen some of these. Most of these, honestly, I haven't seen. But just based on what I've seen, I thought Jessie Buckley did great in Hamnet as Agnes, or Agnes, as you might say in America.
Yeah, Renette Reinsve was fine in Sentimental Value. Again, Euroslap. I've seen that performance before. Nothing very special. Haven't seen 2 of these. Emma Stone was excellent in Bugonia, it has to be said. So it's got to be either Emma Stone or Jessie Buckley. Jessie Buckley was really good in Hamnet. I would probably give it to Jessie Buckley, to be honest.
Yeah. You're right, though. Emma Stone was good. She sold me on, like, she's a scared, she sold the scared woman thing right up until the end when she just flipped the switch and was like alien boss lady. Supporting actress. A lot of sentimental value in here. Teyana Taylor is that his daughter?
It's the wife it's the hot black wife with the great ass.
With the gigantic ass. That scene was that was funny as well. Sean Penn is like scoping these people out. He's tracking these terrorists down, and then he sees Teyana Taylor's just I think that can't be her ass. Like, they stuffed the jeans. I mean, like, her back is coming down and it, like,
I don't know, man. She must have had surgery or something because she had the same ass in that piece of shit fucking corporate feminist lawyer show. I can't remember what it's called.
Kim Kardashian would have been like, hey, you need to ease up on the surgery. That's like
she does an underwear scene in that, and she has a banging body, man. Like, she's got a great body.
So Sean Penn like hovers over this act for a while through the binoculars. He's completely distracted.
I couldn't really give a fuck who they give it to here. Ellie Fanning was very good in Sentimental Value, it has to be said. The other one, no, definitely not. This Ingve girl, or Inga, no, that was just a sort of phoned in okay performance. Amy Madigan in Weapons, she was good, but I don't think there was anything particularly special about the performance. Wunmi Mosaku, who I'm guessing she plays the Chinese wife in Sinners. Yeah, she was good, but again, it's nice actress supporting role. She fine. I mean, any of these are fine. Like, I don't think anyone really cares. They're all very good, and you could give it to any of them, and you wouldn't be wrong.
Yeah.
Except Inga, not her. Like, that Inga one, no, she wasn't very good in that.
I haven't seen enough of those to even know. Animated feature film. God. Oh, what the fuck is Elio even doing?
I know. Like,
on this list.
Why is that in here? Is it like just, it's a Pixar movie, so we have to nominate it? Like, get PDO fucking out of there. What is this? What the fuck is Arco even? What is that?
Even if you remove the obvious pedo message of the movie and this take away the fact that people were like, this is ridiculous that Disney wouldn't let us make a movie about a gay 10-year-old. This, goddamn, these corporate overlords. Take all that away. The movie is just a pile of crap. The pacing makes no sense. The characterization is awful. Lots of people point out the cinematography is terrible. Everything happens right in the middle. It's TikTokified. It's made to be clipped. Except the movie, there are no moments in the movie that you would want to clip. Nothing is even that good for 60 seconds. It was trash all the way around.
Absolute trash. There's not a single element of this movie that I liked. I swear to God, man, I would have fallen asleep in the theater if I hadn't drank a double shot coffee, like, while watching it. I was bored to death.
I can't remember any of the characters' names except for Elio, because he's the title character, and I think the alien's name was Glorg. I think, right? Wasn't that his buddy, his penis friend?
The alien's father has like 3 eyes, and looking at him gave me a headache. It made me feel like I had double vision. I had to close my eyes every time he came on screen. Just the most horrible, disgusting animation.
Yeah, absolute trash.
What in the
But
name of
this is
God?
going to be K-pop. No. I mean, just
Yeah, like that's not even a question.
no,
Not even a
not
question.
even close. I haven't seen these animated short films. I'm going to skip on past
Yeah, that's
that.
pretty good. The fuck category.
Right. As far as casting goes, I this actually is kind of a tough one because Sinners had great casting. So did Marty Supreme. So did Hamnet. Secret Agent, what the fuck? Nobody even, there was no acting in that. They look like random people off the street. Like they really, it could have been like a
like, honestly, they could have put me in the main role and it wouldn't have made any fucking difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's either Hamnet, Marty Supreme, or Sinners. You could give it to either of the three of them. There are no casting mistakes in any of those movies. They're all excellently cast.
No, they're fantastic. Yeah, it's gonna be a toss up. I think I'd go with Marty Supreme on that one. I thought overall that was just excellent. I actually was very surprised to see Tyler the Creator doing a good job in that one. He's usually kind of a goofball, and he was a little goofy because he was his friend's kind of sidekick. But
you know what? I would actually give it. I will actually give it to Marty Supreme because you know the main bad guy corporate dude. What was his name?
Kevin O'Leary.
Kevin O'Leary. You know that was his first role. He's never acted before.
He's a public figure. He's never acted, but he basically was himself as Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank. He is a venture capitalist. That's his whole claim to fame.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he was cast. Like, Josh Safdie said, I cast him to play himself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we say, oh, well, he was just playing himself. No, he was playing himself in front of a camera on a film set, right?
That's true.
It's not easy to act under any circumstances. You know, watch fucking Conor McGregor's performance in what was that movie called? That piece of shit remake with Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, watch Conor McGregor in that if you think acting as yourself is easy. So he was, because he took a risk, Josh Safdie took a risk and cast a guy. Okay, he's been in front of cameras, he's got a little bit of experience, but film set's a very different thing, and he fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
Great performance. Yeah. So just for that bold bit of casting, plus everything else being excellent, and as you say, Tyler the Creator, bit of a risk, really paid off. I would give it to Marty Supreme for that. Yeah,
I agree. That one was excellent. Cinematography. Oh, this is another tough one. You know what's weird is, as boring as Train Dreams was, this, if we're going cinematography, it was a gorgeous movie.
It was very nice, yeah.
And more than just looking good, the cinematography evoked some of the emotion that they were going for. So it really, the angles or the pans or whatever, like they did, it wasn't just, oh, look, beautiful trees. They did use the camera to evoke the emotions. So there was a lot of skill going on there. That might be mine, just to give it, just like a pity win. Train Dreams needs something boring ass.
Fuck Train Dreams. Marty Supreme again for me. The production design and the fact that it was so immersive. It's a 50s period movie and they made it look incredibly immersive. It's beautifully lit. And the action scenes, you know, the actual ping pong scenes look fantastic. And that's not going to be easy to block in with the 50s production design. Plus, you know, if they use stunt doubles, I don't know, but it looked amazing. So for me, it's got to be Marty Supreme.
It did. That one, looking through these, that one's gonna, Sinners is gonna get obviously I think Sinners is gonna get Best Picture and it's gonna get a bunch of awards, but I do think Marty Supreme is gonna get a lot of these awards, and it's gonna be the big kind of sleeper hit because Marty Supreme is not one that everybody was talking about. It's not a really famous movie.
No, it didn't even make 200. I mean, it made money. It was profitable, but it only cost $70 million. I think it's made 180 or something, but it hasn't even made $200 million.
This is going to be a weird year because it's going to be a year where this one's going to win a bunch of awards and people are going to go, wow, Marty Supreme swept. And you're going to have a lot of people that are going to say, and again, I don't blame them for saying this, but they're going to say, wow, the Oscars giving awards to movies nobody's fucking heard about. And that is true. But this year is going to be kind of a weird story where, yes, no one's heard of this movie, but it's really good.
Yeah.
If Marty, costume design is going to go to Marty for the same reason. Nailed the 50s. Yeah, the 50s look all the way around. They might give it to Frankenstein.
I don't even know what the fuck Avatar's doing in there. Do you know? I don't know. You haven't seen Avatar 3. The movie doesn't even look good. It actually doesn't, because people say, well, Avatar 1 and 2 maybe not the best movies in the world, but they looked really good. Avatar 3 doesn't look good. It's not a particularly good looking movie. Some of the effects are kind of stodgy and shit. A lot of it just looks like copy and pasted from the last movie. Like it's sort of extra footage, deleted scenes, just recycled. It's not a very good looking movie at all.
No.
So absolutely not for that. Frankenstein, nah, it's a little bit too generic. It's a little bit too derivative of that kind of gothic style. It does it well, but it doesn't. It's not original enough for me to really get it. Hamnet nails that period. I mean, I'm not a fucking 16th century expert when it comes to fashion, but it looked really good. But yeah, like you said, Marty Supreme just for nailing that 50s aesthetic.
Oh, let's see. We got directing. I mean, it's going to go to Sinners. Well, I don't know. I think it could go to Sinners on this one because the stuff that I looked up where it's more than just capturing, you know, the actors being good or whatever. Sinners has a lot of layers to it that Coogler was able to bake in, but they're not like, ooh, look, did you see what I just did there? Like, they're just there if you want them, but if you don't, the movie is still serviceable as is. And I think that takes a lot of talent to pull those two things off at the same time.
I'd probably give this to Sinners. Like I say, I love Marty Supreme, but I think a lot of it rests on Timothée Chalamet's performance.
Yeah.
I think if you'd cast a mediocre actor, the movie wouldn't be anything close to as good. So yes, it's very well directed, but it really needs Chalamet's performance to hit. Really needs it. So for me, this is Sinners.
Yep. Documentary, nobody gives a shit. Documentary short film. Oh god.
Editing, but just fucking skip all that shit.
Just well, you should take a look at these because these might be good fodder for
Christ, man. I actually
future videos that you can make.
I might watch All the Empty Rooms because I read the description of it on Netflix. All the Empty Rooms, and at first, okay, so All the Empty Rooms is about a film crew which go around and photograph the empty rooms of children who have been killed in school shootings. Now, at first, I thought that sounds kind of nice. It sounds like a little tribute to these kids that were killed in great tragedies. But then something clicked, and I went, oh, it's an anti-gun documentary that was made to win Oscars, and it used dead children as fodder for Oscar bait.
Very nice.
Let's move on.
Just from the sound of it, I think The Devil is Busy is going to be, Children No More were and are gone.
No fucking... see, this is the thing. Why do you think I want to be miserable and depressed? What is wrong with these fucking people?
I kind of want to watch some of these editing. Nobody cares. International live action.
This is all bullshit. Yeah. Oh, music. Let's do music.
Yeah.
So I listen.
I think it's going to go to Sinners.
The only music that I actively seek out and listen to anymore is basically film music and video game music also. By the way, if you want to check out a great video game OST, I'm blanking on the name again.
Expedition 33?
Xeno Crisis. Xeno Crisis, it's a 2018 game that I played recently. It's a 16-bit top-down shooter, really fun. But it has a fucking excellent OST. So if you just want to listen to something cool and fun, check out Xeno Crisis OST. Anyway, but I listen to mostly music, original scores from movies now. And I haven't listened to Frankenstein. Frankenstein, I know from having watched the movie that it's very generic, so that's a no.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot going on in that musically.
Hamnet sounds nice. I was listening to Hamnet yesterday and the day before, and the entire score is very forgettable except for one piece, which Max Richter, I think he remixed another composer's much better piece of music, and that's really lovely. And that's why it got nominated. But most of the score is quite forgettable and merely quite nice. So no, not Hamnet either. Johnny Greenwood. He wrote maybe one good piece for this. The theme for One Battle After Another is quite good. But the rest of it it's Johnny Greenwood, and Johnny Greenwood is just secondhand Penderecki, so no thanks. There's no question that this is Sinners. It's Ludwig Göransson, who is the best modern film composer. By the way, that is wrong. Marty Supreme should have been in there. Frankenstein, fuck off. Hamnet, no. One Battle After Another, get fucked. Marty Supreme should absolutely have been in there. It's a travesty that it's not in there because the composer and I want to do the man justice, so I'm going to go grab his name here off my Spotify.
You know, it should be in there, but
the Marty Supreme soundtrack, a guy called Daniel Lopatin or Daniel Lopatin, if he's French, I don't know, but his name sounds like Lopatin, and he did a brilliant job with that score, and it's just wrong that it's not in here.
Yeah, I mean, it was good, but Sinners used the music as part of the story, and so it's going to smash it out of the park because it was part of the plot.
Original song.
Original song.
It's gotta be Golden, obviously.
Yeah, no question about that. Best Picture. Now this one, it sounds like you might be going Marty on this one.
Well, I mean, my pick is Marty, but I don't think it's going to be Marty Supreme. I'd be very surprised if it was Marty Supreme. The Academy are going to pick. They're either going to do One Battle After Another or Sinners. The thing is that the Oscar villain this year was One Battle After Another, but
yeah,
when Sinners got nominated for 16 awards, that became the Oscar villain, kind of. Like, even fucking what's his name, the guy who does the sort of ironically bored shtick on Daily Wire. What's his name?
Walsh.
Matt Walsh.
Yeah.
He was complaining on Twitter about how Sinners got nominated because it's a black movie about racism, and which is bollocks. Like, that guy,
he's professionally angry. He's
good with a lot of politics, but he's not good with culture. Like, he's shit on video games, shit on music, shit on movies, but stick to politics, man. But yeah, so a lot of people were coming out of the woodwork to try to make Sinners the Oscar villain, and because of that, One Battle After Another kind of got away with it. And so I think that's why it might win, because it didn't get that backlash that it should have, and so it might be able to win this. And because the Academy, and you've seen this at the Grammys when Billie Eilish got up and said, I get to live in a $3 million mansion in LA, but you don't get to live securely. You don't get borders. You don't get to have borders. You don't get to have fences. You get to have your communities flooded by migrants. I don't. You do. She said something to that effect. And fuck ICE also, I believe she said. And because of that kind of attitude among the cultural elite,
cool. So edgy,
among our cultural betters in the Hollywood elite, they might sort of do One Battle After Another as a protest vote against ICE. So if I were to guess, I think this will be a bit of an upset. Sinners is going to lose, and I don't think the Academy can help themselves. They're going to do One Battle After Another as an anti-ICE, anti-Trump protest vote. Greg, what do you think?
I mean, that's not a bad theory at all, and I could definitely see that. I could also see them skipping over Sinners because it's going to win a ton of awards. And so they might want to try to avoid the, it swept. Oh, it got too many awards. Oh, it's, nobody else had a chance. And just all the bitching that happens when something wins too many awards, even if it's really great. Again, last year's Game Awards, it was all Expedition 33, and people were just mad. Like, whoa, why is it getting so many awards? Because it's a fucking incredible, it's an achievement of a goddamn video game is why. And I could see them skipping over Sinners because they'll just, it's going to get all these other, costume, and it's going to get music, and it's going to, so we don't need to give it Best Picture. We can give that to somebody else. I could see them doing that. They won't do Marty Supreme, despite, I don't know, the Marty Supreme thing is kind of because Marty Supreme is super Jewish, and I don't know if that's going to play well or against it right now, because the Academy
Israel thing. Fuck, you wouldn't even know with them, because like half of them are the kind of old school, Jewish Hollywood. That's where they come from, and then half of them, the younger guys, they're all fucking pro, like the Rachel Zegler types, like Free Palestine and all the rest of it. So you wouldn't know these days.
You've kind of convinced me. I think they will do the One Battle After Another thing as a statement, which is ironic because it will have the same weight as the movie itself and the characters in the movie. It will have just as much effect as setting off fireworks and shouting, "We're the fucking French 75 motherfucker!" Like, okay.
Part of me wants one battle after another to win because we haven't had the backlash we should have yet. This movie hasn't had the reckoning that it should have had, whereby just YouTube comes out and fucking massacres it and said, "This thing is fucking garbage. Stop giving it awards." Quite the opposite, actually. I've seen all these fart sniffing video essays about how one battle after another is the cinematic epic of Paul Thomas Anderson's career. Like, all this bollocks. So it needs to become the villain that it is. The culture needs to recognize how awful it is. At the same time, though, if it loses, it'll just end up it's just this forgotten movie that the odd person on streaming will look back at a couple of years from now and think, "Fuck, remember that mess?" Yeah. Nobody's going to remember it. But if it does win, it will become a historic Oscar villain. No question.
Production design.
That's Marty Supreme.
Yeah.
Marty Supreme. No question.
Sound is going to go to F1.
Yeah, F1, sure. What about visual effects? Again, Avatar, Fire and Ash. No, that is not a good looking movie. Not at all.
Yeah.
Jurassic World Rebirth. Yes, give it to Jurassic World Rebirth just for a laugh.
What the fuck? What was that D-Rex?
I want Jurassic World Rebirth to be an Oscar-winning movie. Oh, I fucking love it.
The D-Rex looked like, I mean, it looked like a child looking.
Took like a Rancor toy from Star Wars and put its head on top of a T-Rex, and then took two arms off his like toy soldier and stuck them on. It's phenomenally terrible.
What's weird is that they wrote it in. I mean, they even said like, "Oh, these are all the screw ups. This is all the crap. These are all the ones that nobody wants to look at." Like, well, why did you do that? Because you're gonna have to show them on video at some point, and then, oh god.
I hope to God Jurassic World Rebirth wins that. It won't. Like, Sinners is gonna win, but who gives a fuck?
Yeah, Sinners will win. I could see F1 winning that one. I thought visual effects were good on that one, but I think it'll be Sinners. Writing is going to be
adapted screenplay. That's a tough one. That could really go anywhere.
Well, I haven't read any of these books, so I don't know, how much of a good adaptation that they are is the trouble.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. Let's move on to writing.
For original screenplay, this one's going to go to Sinners. But again, well, you know what? Because I think this one's, again, as good of a movie as Marty Supreme is, I don't think that it's because it's an amazingly written original screenplay. There's tons of cool things to say about it, but I do think that the layers in Sinners, it ought to win this one for original screenplay.
Yeah, it was just an accident. That's just a bit of that's a ticked box on an ESG report. I don't even know what that is. Probably the same with Blue Moon, but it's got to be Sinners. You're right. Marty Supreme, it's excellent, but it's excellent for lots of reasons other than the writing as well. But Sinners, it's a very carefully put together, very well thought out script. So
yeah, I'm actually weird that K-pop Demon Hunters is not on this, because that really is a good original screenplay writing wise. That should have been here as well.
Yeah, but the Academy, historically doesn't take animation as seriously as it should.
No, and that's actually, it's looking through this. It is crazy to see how little that movie comes in here. And that's another part of that just fucking sneering, pretentious bullshit that the Academy does, where the Secret Agent is in here more. I think I'd have to count it up. It's in here as much or more than K-pop Demon Hunters. And that's the kind of shit that just makes you lose all respect for this institution, because you're like, you can't be serious. You can't seriously have watched that movie, those two movies, and said, yes, Secret Agent needs to win all these awards or all these nominations, but K-pop, you just hate it because it's animated and it has K-pop in it, and you think you're better than that, and it's bullshit.
It is bullshit. So there's only one ping pong movie, Balls of Fury. Writer Sail Away 30. The best animated film of last year is Chainsaw Man, the movie, Riza Arc. I haven't seen it.
I want to watch that one. It's an anime thing. People say that it's like everybody says it's really an amazing story, and it's off, it's off-putting because it's a dude with a chainsaw for a head, but people are like, look past that. It's actually part of the whole shtick, and it's really an emotional story. It's really, really deep. I want to check that one out.
Eric Mikuta, $10. Thank you, Eric. As an incredibly handsome and straight white man who identifies as a gay black Somali, I can tell you from firsthand experience that the leering center is more than just like bananas and rice. I'll take your word for it, Eric. Thank you. All right. So yeah, that's it. That's our Oscar stream and all our predictions. So hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, have a great day wherever you are.